And we are live. Welcome to the Iron Lords podcast, episode number 55. And it's another glorious Sunday, and we are back at the round table on the Lord's Day. We've got a very special guest, God of War leaks, Microsoft Cloud Gaming Division, Xbox updated E3 presence, the Red Dead 2 effect, and Toys R Us to discuss. So we're going to get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord whose laid back and sarcastic approach to gaming is a refreshing change in these gaming streets. This Lord is also a huge multi-platform gamer, never afraid to tackle controversial topics. And similar to the ILP, we have a Lord of the Arcade Quarter who respects the retro roots of gaming. Introducing the co-founder of the Four Guys with Quarters podcast and a panelist of the Crossfire podcast, the Lord of Critical Observations, and the man responsible for the petition to put loot boxes back in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Making his debut into the realm of the Lords. My man, Lord Italian Clowns. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, guys? Pleasure to be here. I like the throne I'm sitting on. Thanks, I appreciate it.
No doubt. Absolute pleasure to have you. Huge fan, man. Huge fan. Listening to you guys for a while. Shout out to Lord Inferno. You know what I'm saying? It's Lord Assassins, Ever Fries, the crew. You know what I mean? But I'm glad to have you in the realm of the Lords, you know. Huge fan, man.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. And of course, we have the four horsemen of gaming. We may actually maybe one horseman down. We got to see what's going on with Alex. He's got some stuff going on, emergency situation. Shout out to him. But of course, we have our most technical gaming lord, the solo gamer who lives for the single player selfish experience. And also the Softstradamus, Mr. Offline Profile Illuminati himself. My man, Lord Sovereign. How we doing, sir?
Doing fantastic, man. Good to be here. Good to be here. Good to be feeling 100%. You know?
My voice
sounds great, sir. You sound great.
I want to address something real quick because King and I got into it a little bit playfully, like we always do. But he's about how I'm offline Illuminati. And I've never, you know what? And the thing is, I don't think I've ever publicly addressed it.
Yeah.
But this is it for me.
Talk to me.
I think as excited as we all were when Halo 2 dropped years ago, right? Mm-hmm. I think that night, a little piece of me died.
Oh, you gonna have to explain yourself, Lord.
Watch this. Yo, watch this. This is good.
Let's go. Talk to me.
You know what it is?
Break it down.
Because for me, that's essentially when the Saturday night at Cognito's house ended.
I see where you're going.
For me, that interaction with my friends is what, especially like, and let's keep it even more real. Mm-hmm. That was the time in my life when the home situation was not the greatest.
Right.
That was my escape. Like I was there with you guys, and I could just forget about everything else. And then when it became everything online, it was just like, you know what? Damn, man, it's not the same. Like it's just not the same. So for me, I never came back from that. Like now, I'm in a great pace in my life, but I got to a point where it's like I'm so used to it, and I don't like. So he gets on my back because I don't be online. I don't play online with everybody else, and I'm always in the corner playing a single player.
Profile invisible.
So I'm gonna put out this lifeline right now.
Let's go.
We got A Way Out coming next week.
Okay.
I want to
play that.
Let's do it, baby.
Let's
do it, baby.
I'm buying it. I'm on it. We on it. You already know it. That's us. I knew that from day one. And I knew exactly where you were going with this whole joint. And you know what? I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm gonna reiterate that with you. In that situation, when that happened, everybody seemed to like spread out like water. Mm-hmm. Like before we was in a cup and somebody, broke the glass. Halo broke the glass. Yeah. And it just, everybody scattered into the winds. And people don't understand what this Sunday means. Like this Sunday means we're giving you a peek. And this is just a group of us. Like really, our group is very vast with very different personalities that made everything come together to a point that if you think this podcast is fun with the 3 of us, if you can imagine 16 of us.
Yeah, clowns. It was crazy clowns. Like
it was bananas.
That's like a world record, right? Get 16.
Yeah, shout out to Mom.
Yeah, no. Shout out to his mom.
She dealt with
his
a lot.
His
with me.
dealt with 16 young men in the house.
Clown, this is how we used to do it, man. Like when it came to Halo 1 and we were linking up systems, we had 4 Xboxes with 4 controllers apiece with the Linksys router in the middle. We had people on TVs. We had 4 TVs in different parts because Cognito had like a little mini suite, so we could all spread out a little bit. We
different
had people
rooms
in the closet over here. We had people by the steps over here.
So you can't TV watch. No TV watch.
And then, whoever didn't perform well had the little 13-inch bubble face TV.
Oh yeah, the bubble face in the closet. You had to go in the closet by yourself.
Whenever you took the L, you took the tiny TV.
What happened if somebody tripped over the wire?
I know.
Oh no! We never. Yeah. Thankfully, it wasn't in a heated match.
The 25-foot Ethernet Cat 5. You know what I'm
saying? We spend bread for this. Yeah. Like we really did. But let me get my intro, and then we can go on to this.
And of course, we have the XS Gamer. Ooh. The Lord of Combat Sports, who is a man of his convictions, demands nothing less than that premium experience, and is the Tiki Torch Extinguisher.
Ooh.
Beloved Lord King, how you doing, sir?
I am doing fantastic this Sunday, and I'm gonna let you know a couple of things, people. We're doing things different today. Today we're going to do things a little bit different. I have to take a step back because the other day I woke up to 100 tweets that I was in mentions and I had to go down these tweets to figure out why grown men were in their feelings.
Oh, here we go.
Why grown men felt the need to express themselves in this manner. Now, we had combat sports last night, but today we're going to do a little bit different combat sports. We're going to do feelings combat sports. This is Sunday, and being the disciple of the sun god Ra, sun is going to shine on your back today. I'm going to warm you up, and I'm going to give you a hug because we have a lot of broken individuals out here that are in their feelings with certain things. And let me tell you something. When we do podcasts, if you do a podcast, I may not agree with your content. I may not know your content. But being that you're a fellow podcaster, I embrace you with a handshake and a hug. We are brothers. We are in the same struggle at all times.
Preach.
We are looking for the same likes and the same viewers, and we want our word to be heard. At no point in time do I have prejudices against any podcaster. If I don't agree with your content, I just don't view your content, but I support you wholeheartedly because it is a struggle. It takes everything in you to get up and to do it and to talk and to be heard.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants to be heard. Everybody has an opinion, and we should respect that opinion.
Woo!
Now,
church.
On to the games. I want you to close your mind off from the noise outside. And I want you to remember that first time you picked up the game. That love we all share. That love that's inside of every last one of us. I'm inside of you. That's why I embrace you and I hug you and I call you brother. Because we both fell in love with the same mistress.
Testify.
We taste her all the time.
Church.
Her or him, depending on your situation. We taste it. We chase it with such a vigor that we anticipate dates that we can get intimate with her or him, given the situation. All right,
preach it, brother. Preach it.
Let me tell you something. Close your eyes and remember, if you can go back far enough, when you walked in an arcade, and that was your video game experience. That was your taste. That was your love. You walked to the arcade. There was no box that controlled your world. You wasn't bound to some piece of plastic. It wasn't red versus blue. It was you versus that dude, and you had that quarter. And you went in there and you said things like, man, and you shook hands afterwards. Because if he beat you, you said, I got to get better. I got to come back because he's the king of the arcade.
And then you put your quarter up.
That's put your quarter up. That's my quarter there. And you know the dude was nice when he put his quarter backwards. Now,
absolutely.
I want you to remember when games came out, you brought the best version. I brought Street Fighter 5 times.
The turbo version, the what you call
version, Genesis, Super Famicom.
Yes.
I want you to understand, I'm a lover of games.
Yes, sir.
So it's not about that box. Close your eyes and say to yourself, if they took your favorite franchises and put it on the other box, would you not be a fan? It's about the games. It's not about that box. It's not about a person talking about my PlayStation. You don't work for the company. You employ them. You are Sony and Microsoft boss. Without your dollars, they cannot operate. So stop acting like a peon and act like a king and a boss.
Woo! Oh man, we get the Holy Spirit up in here.
The part that irritates me the most is if you are directly having conversation with one person, the tribalism, and another man that feels that he has to step up for the next man. Mind your business. Don't speak unless spoken to, or you get broken to.
Wow, do you feel the
you understand? You have to understand that no man needs defending because every man stands on his own, and he doesn't need a team unless calling for help.
Amen.
You make your people look weak by jumping in out of turn.
I hear you.
Mind your business. Understand. Here in the Lord's realm, I am a king. The name King David means something. And if you don't know, it's all through the Bible if you go for that. It's all through the world if you go for that. That name was given to me. I didn't pick it up. It was not a moniker that I said, today I feel this way. Let me tell you something. Everybody is respected until disrespect is involved. Then I will sun you and put you in your place.
And them Twitter beef come out.
So I say this to say, remember, you are my brother.
Facts. We all
and
brothers.
I embrace you with a handshake and a warm hug.
There we go.
It's all love until you make it something different.
Until it's not. Until it's not.
It's all stupid. Until it's not.
And they know me. They know me to know that we come from the DNA of video games. Get out of that box tribalism. Yeah. That box owes you nothing. You pay that box. Because if you walk in your house and you turn that box on with no games, what happened? Nothing. A black screen. That's what happens. So just remember, you love the game, man.
Love the game.
Practice and play the games, man.
Appreciate you, Lord King. That was heavy sermon at the church today. You know, we had to drop that knowledge. I'm sorry, town clowns. You know, we had to get some things off our chest, some things we've been seeing. You know what I mean? But very important message by Lord King. All jokes aside, you know what I mean? We love everybody, man. As long as you're a gamer, as long as you got passion for this thing that we love, this is the thing that kept us together for all these years. And Sav made a good point. You know, I understand his thing with the whole, you know, it's almost like Xbox Live split us apart in a way as we got older, but it brought us together. At least we can still communicate. And the Iron Lord podcast also helps us get back to those fateful Saturdays. So much appreciated, Lord King. And of course, it is Lord Cognito here, spreading that gaming realness on an ILP. Not telling you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So before we get into what the Lords are playing this week, I want to start off with Lord CLoWnZ, his video game system history, what led him to the co-creation of one of my favorite podcasts, The Four Guys with Quarters, and of course, being a panelist on the Crossfire podcast. Lord CLoWnZ, let's start from the beginning. What were the first kind of like video game systems that you had?
Wow. Well, to be honest, my dad had a couple of pizza places. So I was 3 years old and it was Pac-Man. He picked me up. I was 3 years old and he put that quarter in and I fell in love with games ever since then, man.
Wow, that's a dope story. That's dope. Wow, so you are literally a child of the arcade.
Yes.
That is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Salute your father. Salute, Papa Clowns. That's amazing. Okay.
Thanks, man.
No doubt, no doubt. So where did we go on? So as that infatuation, that love started, was you just you stuck in the arcade for a while, and then where was the first console that you had?
At home, my mom then got me into ColecoVision. We had a ColecoVision. We had the Sears version of the Atari 2600. I think it was called like the Telegram or something. Telegames it was called.
Yeah, what's the Sears version? I didn't know about this. Tell me about the Sears version.
It's just basically the 2600, but it's like a knockoff. It looks the same and it plays all the same games. So it worked.
Okay,
it was the Telegame version. It was just Sears Telegames.
Yeah, it was licensed by them. Yeah.
I never knew this. I'm learning. There was a knockoff 26.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, it was official. It wasn't a knockoff. It was because it was licensed.
It was like the 3DO.
Oh, so like they had
with the Gold Star version.
Okay, yeah. Right. So it was licensed by Atari. Atari knew. Yes. Okay, I just want to make sure they was.
Well, Atari was more okay. Remember, Sears had their own their own catalog and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. And Atari joint was more popular, so Sears was gave them bread to sell their joint, and people used their credit cards. Remember, you was able to get a line of credit with Sears to get yourself.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Got you. All right, continue, Lord Clown.
And then from there, my dad came home one day, and it was on the release day of the Nintendo Entertainment System. He brought home the NES, and we actually had like the separate Duck Hunt and the separate, Super Mario Brothers. It wasn't combined in one cartridge. Mm-hmm. And then he bought Gyromite, and I'll never forget that. I stayed up like 12 hours that night just playing that.
Nice Gyromite. I remember that. That was one of the things with the pins and stuff that used to go up and down. That one was it? That?
Yeah, like that robot that would pick up.
Yeah. Wait, you had Rob?
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Rob, baby.
You know what's crazy? I never knew anybody that had Rob. I think maybe did Lord High have Rob? Did he have it?
Yeah, Rob. High had Rob. You know why? Because that was the big box. That was the $200 box. That was the if you was in it to win it box. Came with the light gun and a boy. Yeah, man. Okay, he was a big balling back then. His father owned pizza shops. The hell out of here.
Yeah. Continue, look. So NES. That was the next one.
Yeah.
And what you graduate from them?
Wow. Well, my friend had the Sega Master System, and I skipped over that one because my dad was like, "Oh no, not Sega. You want to go with Nintendo? You got to get the Nintendo."
Try the podcast over. He's not a Sega kid.
So I missed the Master System, but I really liked the Sega Master System because the Alex kid. So my dad went out and then he got me the Genesis, and I got stuck on Altered Beast for a while. I love that game.
Rise from your grave.
Yes, I want them to do a real one again.
Yeah, I miss it, man. Kid Chameleon, that game was awesome.
Oh man, don't talk about Kid Chameleon.
I know.
He loves that.
Yeah. Cool.
Then I got the Game Boy with the magnifying glass. My dad bought me that. Man,
you was rich.
I'm more privileged than King right now.
I was spoiled.
Yo, you was rich. You was rich, my dude. You was rich. Yo, you said the magnifying glass. My boy had that.
Yeah,
because our screen was too small. And he came in one day and I said, "What's that?" He had this big screen. I said, "What's that?" He said, "Yeah, you put it on the top." I said, "God."
I know, but it was like an invention, a genius invention. Unbelievable. Continue, Long Glass.
Then I got the Super Nintendo on launch day as well. Okay. And then my dad bought me those, turbo controllers so I could cheat in Street Fighter against my friends. I just put on the turbo button,
No
that was great. And then from there, man, I never missed like any system that came out. I got the Jaguar, I got the 3DO, the Panasonic.
The Atari Jag. You had Cybermorph at launch.
Yep.
Were you that? Okay. I gotta respect it.
I had TurboGrafx 16.
There we go. Now me and you in the building together right there, baby.
I love that
system. It was my all-time favorite failed system.
Absolutely, it was so good.
Yeah, like they was talking the other day, and they said, what was the best soundtrack for video games? Not too many people know about Lords of Thunder and Gates of Thunder, and I thought they had the best video game soundtrack. And if you go in there and you play those games to this day, I swear that soundtrack, it was heavy rock metal, but man, it fit the game perfect.
And I get
sorry, baby.
That's all right, man. And then my first RPG was Dungeon Explorer on that.
There was a lot of Dungeon Explorer going down.
Oh
my lord!
That's like my in the cut turbo game. Yes. And you know what was dope about that game, Clowns?
Turbo Tap
5-player gauntlet style. That let's give a shout out to TurboGrafx right now. TurboGrafx revolutionized a lot of things. Like I believe they were the first with a legitimate multi-tap. Quote me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
5 players. I remember Dungeon Explorer. I remember Motor Rotor. I remember they had the TV sports, basketball, TV sports, whatever. And that was a big part of our community on Saturdays. Like we would really get down with these multiplayer games. So you just took me back because Dungeon Explorer was a very underrated game. It was difficult too, but it was like almost like a harder version of Gauntlet. And you had your character classes, fighter, mage, and all that other stuff. Shout out to Clowns, man. Oh, you taking me back there.
I love your story right now. I think I would have latched myself onto you.
Yes.
well, for the pizza alone, alone.
Yo, bring him over with the cows on. Bring him with the cows on.
Yeah, everybody who stayed at my house on the weekends got free pizza, calzones, as much video games they wanted to play.
Yo, he would have been through on Saturdays. We'd have definitely rolled out the red carpet.
Most popular kid ever. Your father set you up to win in life. Shout out to your
Papa Clowns, baby. We gotta salute this man. We gotta bring him on the show.
Yeah, shout out to your pops for having the foresight.
I remember when Mega Man 5 dropped, right? And that was so hot at the time. And my friend came over. He was jealous. I had it, and my dad heard him, so my dad went out and bought it for him.
Oh, wow. Just amazing. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Your father was in the mob. All right, enough. The feds is listening. Let's cut the show. The feds is in. They following you, Clowns.
Salute the Baba Clowns. I had a question. Now I know you mentioned Jaguar. I didn't hear 3DO. Was that ever on the list?
Panasonic 3DO.
You had it too?
I had it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he was rich. I told you. What part of rich don't you get? Like, it fell off the back of the truck. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So, question: did your dad, was he a gamer, or he's just, he was just making sure that you had like everything that you liked and you wanted, or did he game with you as well?
Yeah, good question.
He really wouldn't play like Nintendo with me. He played some Super Nintendo with me, but his big thing was pinball. He collected pinball tables, and he had like the 1776 pinball table in the basement.
Wow.
And that had like it wasn't even digital. It had like those roll, things for the numbers. That thing was amazing. I loved that thing. And when my mom sold it, I was so mad. I wanted to keep that.
Oh man, I hear you, man. That's classic because you know the nostalgia, how much it's worth. Yeah, totally hear you. Cool, man. Yo, that is a tremendous history. Now, just fast forwarding now to kind of like common time with the big three, so to speak, like in PlayStation, Xbox. I'm assuming based on what you're saying, you had these as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So what was your progression there as you got closer to this generation?
It was the OG Xbox.
Okay.
The PlayStation 1. I got those like at launch. Nice. The Xbox 360. I didn't get that at launch. I waited on that one. Okay. And I actually had a friend that I knew really well. He sent me the 360 for the first time, and I got hooked on it from there, and I bought like 3 of them.
Nice. That 3 for what purpose?
Every room, baby. Every room.
He did the bedroom, living room situation. Like how we do that.
And then my daughter played on it too. She played on that. And then we had the 3DSs, the DS, the 2DS. Man, I like never missed anything from then on out. The only system I ever missed was the Neo Geo and the Sega Master System.
Okay.
Oh, see, I was heavy Neo Geo.
Yeah, King was heavy
Master System.
Yeah, Saul was heavy Master System with me too.
What I'm hearing is you don't subscribe to tribalism, son. Tribalism is not a word that you can even accurately discern. Like that, you agnostic like hell right here, bro.
I love everything. I love everything. Every game out there, I find a way to love it.
Facts, man. Why deprive yourself if you can do it, you know? So I hear you. All right, cool. So then got the gaming system history down. That is dope. Now, also want to get into your, the creation of the channel. And let's start with one of my favorites, like I said, the 4 Guys with Quarters. Shout out to Lord Inferno. What kind of led you to that whole process and getting that going?
Well, we were playing Plants vs. Zombies one day, PvZ. It was me, him, Assassin, and somebody else. And Inferno was like, I hear a lot of podcasts like on iTunes, and I'd love to do a gaming podcast. And he's like, you guys up for it? I'm like, yeah, man, let's do this. So we sat for like a couple days thinking of the name, and I came up with the name 4 Guys with Quarters because I was thinking like arcade days. You know what I mean? You walk in the arcade with those quarters and you're dropping them. And then from there on out, we just evolved. Inferno did all the setup and produced it. And I always try to get the guests on.
Nice.
And Assassin did most of our reviews. The original guy that we had with us left us to play Destiny.
I'm sorry.
Destiny.
Didn't mean to laugh. Sorry.
And then we picked up Zebrafies.
Nice.
Unfortunately, she's got some stuff going on, so she's going to retire from the scene for a little bit. And now we're 3 Guys with Quarters.
Nice. So 3 Guys. So still, man, awesome show. Like I say, huge fan, very knowledgeable. I really, advise everyone that's in the chat, please sub to these guys. They put out very high quality content. It's intelligent, and it's just really cool, man. I love watching the show. Always try to catch as much as I can. And then what led you to? I saw you also a panelist of the Crossfire podcast. So what led you to that podcast?
Well, I was on Twitter, of course, like everybody else is these days. And I was seeing like Tim Dog talk back and forth with Mooch, and Mooch talk back and forth with like, other people, Mike Ybarra. And I was like, Inferno, we should have a presence on Twitter and start getting involved with everyone on Twitter. I was like, yep, great idea. As soon as we did that, next thing I know, I'm on Crossfire and Inferno's on TXR.
Nice. Oh, shout out to TXR, man. Yeah, man. 2 big podcasts in the community. Definitely listen as much as I can. Definitely miss TXR, man. We're gonna hopefully have one of the TXR vets on next week. We'll see. Fingers crossed. I don't want to jinx it. But that's cool, man. Very, very cool history. Love that. So what I want to ask you is a question I've been asking a lot of our guests recently. So we want to get into the top 5 Italian Clowns video game franchises. Your personal top 5. Let's go.
Wow, this is really hard.
Exactly.
It's very hard because I would have to say Super Mario.
Okay. Classic.
Then Super Mario Kart.
Yeah, can't deny Kart. Yeah, can't deny it.
I would say Donkey Kong Country.
Okay.
Battletoads, even though that was like not that many games.
Yeah, but that was a good franchise and hard.
Yeah, and Double Dragon.
Woo! There we go, baby. That's all you needed to say.
You are friends with Saul for life right now. You don't understand what you just did right now. Like that right there, you're solidified with Saul. You're good. Trust me. So you had Kart, you had Mario, Battletoads, Double Dragon. What was the 5th one?
Donkey Kong Country.
Donkey Kong Country. Okay, got it. That's what's up. And last but not least, the science behind the Italian Clown's name. I'm nosy. Oh, is it just what it is? Is there any other meaning to it?
Okay. Well, back on those days when everybody had like AOL or MIRC.
Yes, sir.
My nickname on there was Clowns because I would say jokes that didn't make sense. So they'd be like, "Oh, you a clown? You a clown? You don't make sense." So I just kind of stuck with it, nice. And just grew from there.
Dope, man. Dope. I love it, man. I first of all, shout out to the artwork on the icon, bro. I'm feeling it. That's lit. Sir. No doubt. All right. that's what's up. So we're gonna get into what the Lords are playing this week, and we bring it right back to Lord Clowns. What have you been playing this week? What you been touching? What game?
Wow. Lately I've been playing Fortnite because I got the battle pass and it kind of hooked me into the tiers and the progression. So I'm just stuck on Fortnite for a bit.
Nice, getting your Fortnite on, building, progressing, getting your suits out, unlocking stuff.
Yep.
Nice. That's what's up, Lord Sir. What have you been playing this week, man?
On Xbox, I had to go back to State of Decay, man. When that State of Decay footage got me hyped, and I had never played Breakdown, like the 2 edition Lifeline and Breakdown. I never really played. I just played the base game. So I think I'm playing Breakdown right now, the one with the military, where you play the military personnel. So man, just getting back into that, man. I'm so amped for State of Decay 2. If you guys haven't been watching, like IGN finally, I
was gonna ask you because I missed the second IGN footage. Can you give me a break? Did they break down the base building?
They broke down the base building, all the stuff that we talked about last time that they needed to bring up and to kind of get people understanding what this game is really about. Yeah, they broke it down. They really broke it down. They broke down some single player gameplay as well. It just, again, everything that they promised with that game, that it's just going to be bigger and more of what made that game great with the co-op aspect is there. It's like, oh my Lord, it's fantastic. And then with all the God of War talk, I said, you know what? I got to install God of War 3 again. So I installed that yesterday. I never really finished God of War 3. I went through, I love 1 and 2, right? Okay. And on 3, I never got, after I got past the Gaia introduction and the beginning of that game, which is amazing. For whatever reason, I just fell off. And I said, you know what? Let me play some God of War 3, get ready for God of War, and so I could talk about the differences and whatnot.
Right.
I know why I fell off of it. Like the floaty nature of the gameplay, kind of, it's just one of those things. Like after a while, it just became button mashy. I felt like it was button mashy to me. I like the direction they're going in now, but it doesn't take away from the greatness of the old games. Like that intro to God of War 3 is off the hook. Like the grandeur is something crazy. So yeah, man, like just getting ready for God of War and State of Decay 2.
No doubt. That's what's up, man. Lord King, what have you been touching this week?
Well, shout out to Sovereign for let me blow your mind a little bit, because a lot of times I'm condensing my playlist for you, so it doesn't consist of just PUBG that you may think. Now, the only reason why PUBG gets so much love because literally I have a squad of individuals that we rotate and we play.
Squad? And in the chat, and the rule of the chat right now. What's up, baby?
Yes. Everybody hit those likes in there, please.
Yes, sir.
Assassin's Creed Origin dropped a DLC. And it yanked me right back in the game, right back in the middle of the game, right back in the love of running around Egypt. So that's fantastic. I was playing that. I played me a little bit of Halo Wars 2. I was doing some Cuphead. God, that Cuphead is so hard. I jumped back at Recall because somebody had made a comment about Recall, and I always thought Recall was a very good game. A couple of people got me to play some Division. Did that. And also some of those indie games that popped up, I played that, and the Burnout Paradise Remastered and Super Lucky's Tale. Burnout Paradise Remastered. If you never played Burnout Paradise, or you're a fan of that genre of game, go out and buy it immediately. Immediately. If you have a 4K television or an X, or even if you don't and you're super sampling, trust me, it is the essence of the game, prettier. It's the game, but they redid the assets and it's moving faster and it's like more of what you love. They made your best girlfriend prettier.
I forgot to mention that last week. I bought like a 1 month trial of EA Access so I could get it the 10-hour just so I could see that. Because I hadn't played it really on the 360. I said, let me see what this is about. It's a pretty game. Like Forza 3 is still my heart, but this is his own thing, and it's hot. If you haven't played it, they need to bring it back. They need to bring Burnout back.
Absolutely. So that was pretty much it, Lord Game.
Yeah, that's it.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah, man. For me, I mean, I've been so busy, man. As you know, the Lords are prepping. We got PAX coming up. We got E3 coming up. So it's been real big. I haven't gotten a chance to game as much. So it's just been exclusively XCOM 2 or The Chosen when I get a chance. So close. I defeated 2 Chosen. I got 1 more left. Love the mechanics of the game. Love how hard it is. Yeah, man, I should be finished with that hopefully by next week. I'm trying to get that done. Then I can start getting back into the backlog and knocking stuff out. And I will say this though, man, it's hard after playing XCOM, and I love rabbits, but it's hard to go back to rabbits because it's so much, it's so deeper. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. So that's pretty much what's been going on with me. I'm definitely getting ready for State of Decay, like you know what I'm saying, Lord Soft said, and then obviously, you know, Sea of Thieves, got to get a little, you know, little pirate on, a little R, gotta get my R on. You know what I'm saying? Do that up.
Big month, baby.
Exactly. So that's what we got.
Shout out to GoPro.
Oh,
we
yeah,
in here, baby.
So let's get into these topics of the poll. So yeah, last week's poll results are in, and the people have spoken to the question: with the recent return of Microsoft's Inside Xbox show, how satisfied are we with the format and direction of the show? The winner at 42% in a 4-way poll was the show is way too long group. They need to copy the Nintendo Switch Direct format. So coming in at second at 33% was the Relax, It's a Fine Debut group. Third place at 13% was the Need to Copy the Presentation of Sony group. And our fourth place Shallow group, it was actually close, 12%, was the What About Those Major Nelson Gloves though group. So what do the Lords think about it? Everybody wants it. They say the show is too long. Lord Clowns, what do you feel about the whole Inside Xbox, you know, presentation?
I don't know. I think it's good that they're trying to do something for the fans, show them that, you know, we're still here, we're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch the whole thing because I just don't like long things. That's just my thing. But you know, I think they did a great job. Mm-hmm. The message is out there, and that's what it's for.
Absolutely. Any of your Lords want to chime in before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the length by itself isn't the problem. It's just the content in there. Like, I don't need all of that, you know, back and forth, you know, Dr. Phil, you know. Dr. Phil. I just give me announcements, give me games, like do something concise. If that means the concise means short, fine.
So you're not feeling Larry come out with them gloves every system product SKU.
No, I don't need all that. I don't need all that. And I like Larry for what for certain things that he does. Certain things I can get the old not cool uncle vibe. I get that. But there's things about Larry that I like as well. But the white glove thing, whatever. Like,
not so much.
The gold bananas, same thing. Like whatever. Like.
You wasn't about that. All right, that's what we got. So yeah, we got our hot off the presses segment. We're gonna jump off right now. Looks like a raven from the gaming lords have been sent to the realm. So God of War gameplay leaks, y'all. So have we seen it? If we've seen it, our impressions. Lord Clowns, have you got a chance to see this leak of footage or no?
I haven't seen it, but you know, to be honest, it's just because I was never into the God of War series. That was just me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'll skip it.
So you have no interest of picking up the new one from what you've seen even previous?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh wow! You know the fanboy is coming for you.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna happen, right?
It's all good, man. It's not your cup of tea. It's not your cup of tea. I mean, I will admit, like prior, I played a couple of them, but I never really, I don't know, I guess for whatever reason, I kind of missed out on that God of War series, you know what I'm saying, for the most part. But the new one did kind of appeal to me when I saw the trailer and stuff like that. So, Lord Sub, did you get a chance to see the leaks?
Yeah, I actually saw the entire video before they took it down. So I was one of the lucky ones.
Shout out to Tony.
Yeah, Corey Barlog just shut that down quick.
Early.
So, yeah, so going back to what I said about God of War 3, like I realized why I fell off of it. And for me, it was more the combat thing. The combat felt floaty. and sort of button mash you after a while. And I know there is technique to it, but in the middle of battle with all this stuff happening, it just became easy to sort of just mash, square and triangle, and grab it. And you're always going to see something cool.
Right.
The one thing that I see in the new God of War that they haven't shown yet, and I hope it's still there, is the sense of scale and grandeur. Like I was talking about, that put the beginning of God of War 3, when you're climbing Gaia and you're fighting Poseidon, the scale of that is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So far what we've seen in the new God of War, that isn't that. Like even the few bosses that they've shown don't compare to that scale, right? So maybe they're holding some stuff back that we don't know about. So that's the only thing that I can say that I'm not too sure. I wish they would. I hope they keep that, right? In terms of the combat, anybody who sits there and says that this game does not have DNA rooted in Rise, in Assassin's Creed, especially Origins.
Yeah, be careful, Saul. This is controversial.
Soulsborne, yeah, I know. And Soulsborne games is lying to themselves. Like anybody who doesn't say that this is not built off of that DNA is just lying to themselves. It's taking that formula, right? Doing its own thing with it, making it faster, making it brutal, making it up close and brutal. And I think that's for Kratos. It's sort of perfect. When you see these slow motion, like up close, like facial reactions and these brutal like kills that he does.
Vicious.
The finishes are crazy.
Oh yeah.
I think it suits Kratos very well. I saw a little bit of the progression stuff with the upgrading of the weapons and stuff like that. Just a little bit of it. I think the companion thing with his son, the son seems to be more capable than like an Ellie in The Last of Us. It seems like the AI wise, and you're able to. He doesn't always just operate on his own. Like you
looks like you can press the square. He can shoot the arrow.
Exactly. You can do things like that. Yeah. So for me, I'm gonna be honest. The game looks fantastic. It's a day one buy for me. It doesn't look like a revelation. It looks like it builds upon things that have come before it, including its own DNA, to make something new. But again, it fits into that Sony mode that we've talked about. Third person, behind the back, action, adventure with RPG elements. It fits right into that mode. But that mode works. That mode works. It works. And, I'm not gonna hate on them for it. I'm gonna be there day one.
No doubt. Let me ask you this quick question, Losal, because these Twitter streets. Shout out to TF God in the chat. He going so hard right now against Go. My question to you is: there's some pushback in these Twitter streets. When you said the Rise thing, there's a lot of people that get angry when they say how dare you compare the Rise? At 84.
When you look, okay, yeah, I'll let you finish.
Then the last question, besides you go at the Rise thing, and the second thing is there's a group of gamers that are saying, hey, this looks boring to me. So what do you say to those people who, like I said, is making Rise comparisons or says that from what they see, they look boring?
First, the Rise comparisons, again, you're lying to yourself if you don't look at those two games side by side and see certain comparisons. Yes, there were things about Rise that were simplistic, that whole color coordinated thing. After a while, like after the first stage and a half, you saw most of the kill animations and stuff. Like it was, but the brutality of it you always felt because you were up close and personal. You saw decapitations, you saw amputations up close and personal. You saw the facial expressions on Marius's face and the people he was killing, and that it made it that much more brutal. God of War, where would it get that from? Where would it get? What other game does that up close and personal like that? So you can't say that. Also, in the parry mechanic is exactly Rise, and it's exactly Assassin's Creed Origins, the same thing. Like come on, man, it's there. Like
so they having it.
I'm not having it. Like it's there. Like am I saying they specifically looked at it and be like, we have to copy this? No, but look, games are an iterative thing. People, it's very rare you're going to have something come out of nowhere that does something completely new that doesn't build upon something that came before it.
Fair enough.
Let's stop. Let's stop it.
Enough,
like, And what was the second part of the question?
No, just the whole that and the boring narrative. People, some people.
I don't think so. I mean, I saw Kratos do things with the axe. Like the axe, you can throw it, you can trip people with it, you can use it as a straight up attack.
That's Younger. That's Thor's axe. But yeah,
you can exactly. So you can do something like you can throw the axe and you can have it stay inside an enemy while you attack another enemy, and then have it come back to you. You can do things like throw it at an enemy, have it stay stuck in him, freeze him, walk around him, and kick him into another enemy. And then you can do combos like that. And then the same as old God of War, like you can juggle guys, throw them up in the air, hold them up in the air, do different combos. So I don't know about the boring. Again, we're seeing early in the game, maybe I'm assuming you don't have your entire move set right there. So you're only seeing a piece of that. I've heard people argue that the perspective doesn't lend itself well to an action game. I think for what the story they're trying to tell with Kratos now, I think having it up close and personal, like behind the back, I think it matters to what they're trying to do with this game. And we're not going to be able to see that further until the game comes out. I'm happy with the direction it's taking.
No doubt.
For me, I needed a change.
No doubt. Lord King, how you get a chance to see said footage?
Nope.
Oh, you purposely staying away. So
that's right. It's like everybody's watching these trailers for these movies. Shout out to the Infinity Gauntlet. I'm going to watch the trailer one time because I can't have that trailer out there like that. And I'm not going back and I'm not dissecting the trailer. I'm not doing it. Now, when it comes to video games, if I know I'm going to buy it, there's no need for me to go look at it or try it. I'm buying it. There's no need for me to do that. I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to take it back to the days where we got the Genesis cartridge and we went off the artwork of the box.
No doubt.
Okay, I'm in this.
No doubt. Shout out to Addict. He trapped that work. He put hashtag not my God of War.
Yeah, okay. Well, you know what? Don't buy. That's it. It's simple. There's no need to voice an opinion on it's whack. So what? Okay, shut up. Shut up. No, nobody has to hear your butthole talk, and every time you talk, it's your butthole. Just stop. It doesn't need to be said. It doesn't need to be said. I don't care if you like it or not, and don't care if I do.
Yo, they gotta chill with this. Anyway. Yo, the chat gotta chill with this. Not my God of War. The hashtag.
You know what? You wasn't buying it anyway, so none of the God of Wars was your God of War. I'm buying the hell out of that game. And if you say that game don't look good, you are bull-essing yourself.
Straight red box. I'm done with him.
That's right. Yo, you know what? But you're playing it. I don't care how you get it. I don't care if you send a midget down the street to go get it out the store for you so you don't be seen getting it. As long as you got it to play it, it's your business. Red box it to death. If you got it that way, do it. Who cares?
Oh my God. Shout out to him. He's going so hard. He's like, I beat all three. I can talk. Oh my God. He's going.
That's right. Good. That's right. There it is, baby. Tell him. Pump your chest.
Shout out to Old School. He gave you props for King. He said that box art game selection. That's going way back.
Yep. He know that.
That's what's up. Shout out to the Nintendo Direct. That's what he said. The midget down the street. Yo, they said. Yo, my pressure again. I try to watch a little bit. I didn't want to watch too much, you know what I'm saying? But I think me and Lord Kaibatsu were going back and forth. He's like, did you see it? And I said, yeah, I caught a little bit of it. I like the new direction. I don't mind it. You know, I can understand, though, from a God of War purist, how they may be upset because the direction is, so different from what they're used to. But I think shout out to Lord Sam Tobin in the chat. Like, I think it was needed. I think they needed a refreshing change. And, I like the axe thing. The only nitpick I'm going to say, and this is going to, people might get in their feelings, it was a little too foggy in the back for me. I don't know.
You thought they were hiding something? Like,
I don't know. I just felt, I don't know if it was what it was running on, if that was a pro.
That was a pro. He said it was a pro.
It just felt a little foggy, little in the background, right?
You know what? I didn't even know. I didn't notice it. I wasn't looking for it. I didn't notice it.
I'm nitpicking. This is just ultimate nitpicking, and I just wish the like when they were doing it, like the axe throw, fire, loving it. Commentary, fire. Got to see how much I would be annoyed by Atreus talking so much. Like, come on, Dad, do this, Dad, Dad. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with that.
And just Kratos saying "boy" all the time, boy.
I like that though.
I like boy. I do like, but I know what you said. After a while, maybe let's see how repetitive and annoying that may get. And I just wanted the combat up, like the executions, fire, visceral, parry, dope. I just like felt the natural like sword swinging wasn't brutal enough. I don't know. I felt like it didn't have as much impact as I may have wanted to be. But again, I am nitpicking. I still like the game. That's a day one. Boy will be in the house for me.
there was one GIF that made me laugh though, because it goes back to like the scale of the game, right? They they showed a GIF where he's climbing Gaia or whatnot, this big huge thing, right? And then they showed the part in the new footage where he's looking up at a little ledge and he's like, how am I gonna get up there? It's like a little
and then which goes in front with the whole he not jumping.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I get it, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's pretty much what I got on it, hot off the presses. If anybody got anything else, we're gonna move on. Lord Sav, Power of the Cloud Part 2. Are we back at this again? Is Savstradamus in the building? What's going on?
We're gonna go to Lord King's favorite place, the cloud.
Let's stop because he's not telling you the whole story. He's gonna tell you some side story. Let's stop right here. Yo, clowns, check this out. Clowns, check this out. Yep. This man has correctly predicted the direction, the size and scope of Microsoft's cloud investment. He has single-handedly did this on numerous podcasts. He has single-handedly controlled the cloud narrative. Like nobody does cloud better than Sovereign. I don't care what nobody say. They can talk cloud, but they don't know the cloud. You understand what I'm saying? Like he knows the cloud. He can tell you a new cloud. Tell him about that black cloud. He know about black cloud that people don't know about. He knows about black cloud. You understand what I'm saying? Like all I know is one cloud. I don't even know how the cloud works. But this man is back here. This is to gloat. This is when Barry Bonds stepped up to the home run. He hit a home run. Remember when Barry Bonds smacked it out of the park? You knew it was going anyway, and it was over there. And
he just stood there.
He flicked the bat after he looked at it, and he flicked the bat, and he ran past it. He looked at the pitcher. He's looking at the pitcher. He's looking at the picture right now. Somebody beam this man.
There we go. He's going to give you the full story.
Somebody beam him. Beam this man.
He doesn't like me calling my shot. That's why.
I knew it was right though when you said it though. I don't care.
The funny thing is that I wasn't gonna take this topic, right? Because I'm like the same thing. I'm like, oh, these guys gonna get pissed at me with this cloud stuff again. But then Cog was like, you're gonna take that topic, right? And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm taking it. I was gonna go into the whole Tomb Raider thing, the Shadow of the Tomb Raider thing, but whatever. All right,
I think that was better.
Continue, Lord. So what new has transpired?
All right. So again, everything that we sort of speculated about what they're going to be doing with the cloud is actually, this is the first time. I think the most interesting thing about this information is that they're actually coming out and saying it. Shout out to TSP. I was on TSP earlier this week and we talked about.
Good.
Oh, Attic, what's up, baby?
What's up, baby? Live from work. What's going on?
No, I'm not at work.
Oh, okay, cool. We got you, baby.
Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, you sound good. You sound good.
Can hear you.
You got me.
No. I had to come in and talk about this God of War shit that King is coming in on me at.
All right, let's.
I'm not coming. No, wait a second. I didn't come at you.
Do it.
I didn't come at you, so don't jump in just because you felt that somebody came for you. I came for anybody that felt that they don't like the game. They don't like the game. Don't buy the game. Who cares?
It wasn't I didn't say I didn't like the game. It looks like a solid game. It just doesn't look like a God of War game.
Okay. All right, so then don't call it God of War. Call it God of Eris and whatever you want to call it and play it.
But that's not his name.
No, but it's the name that you want to name it because you own the company. So if you want to name it God of Attic, it is God of Attic. It's your joint. You did that. Personally, when I'm playing it, I'm calling it God of King.
Lord Attic. So I'm assuming you saw the footage, correct?
Yeah, I saw the leaked footage. It's already gone now, but I saw it.
Gone. But what was your impressions? We'll backtrack for you since you missed that topic. What was your impressions of it?
Look, it looks fun. I understand where Saul's coming from with the close-up head bashings that Cryotech did with Rise. I'm not even saying that the gameplay was copied off Rise. I think that for that part was, the counter system, everything. I'm sticking to my number one script, man. I think Sony is doing the Last of Us approach and making all their games Last of Us style. That's what I think. And and when it comes to God of War, they can't do your standard, because Kratos is huge on, up close and personal, so they can't do really too much gunplay. So they had to make some kind of melee.
Gotcha. Now let me counter with this though, because they're going that direction that you feel like do you think it's a mistake? I mean, considering that Last of Us series and all that, that's like huge franchises for them.
It's not a mistake, but I do feel like when it comes to this particular game, like it's like Sovereign was saying earlier, I don't think it's possible to have big set pieces like they did in the original God of Wars. Not with the kind of system that they have now.
Okay. The finest.
I don't think we're going to be fighting. I don't think we're going to be fighting. What it was Poseidon. You fought Poseidon in the third one. Yeah. And I don't know if that's possible because you literally fought Poseidon in like 5 different locations. I mean, on the ending boss, you fight him in like 6 different locations. Like, remember in God of War 3 when you fought Zeus, it was like a fighter at the very end. It was like a side-scroll fighter. Yeah. I don't think that's possible because they're always going to want you to have that. When you have that kind of playing style that you had in the original God of Wars, you have more freedom.
Now the finest is coming for you. He says, "No, Addict, you got to play it first." He said, "You don't know what you're talking about."
I mean, I can have an opinion. Why ain't you on here? Why don't you have an opinion anywhere? That's what I want to know.
Come for the finest, like that's my guy.
Finest is like, hello.
That's my guy right there. But so you just think because of that engine, you don't think it's possible for them to have those?
No, it's going to be a God of War. First off, I don't know. Like in the original God of War, let's be real here. It was good, but the franchise picked up on 2 and 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe they're going to do that in this one, where the first one's going to be more about. But like, I just don't see how some of the set piece fights, especially the puzzles in the original God of Wars. How do you have them in third person like that? Like, and people want to make fun of people that criticize the game for not jumping, but some of the jumping puzzles were only possible because you could jump. So I mean, are we just gonna have a bunch of Final Fantasy and Resident Evil where I got to go to a ledge and keep pressing A to jump up the ledge and then jump back down the ledge? Like that's what I'm seeing happening right now.
Okay, all right. So you wasn't a fan when what's his name, little boy threw the rope down the Kratos. You wasn't about that.
And see, that made no sense. Why does Kratos need a rope? This dude jumped up like hundreds of feet in God of War 1, 2, and 3.
You even said canon-wise, they already messed up by doing that.
You know what it is, though? He's older. He's old. He lost his A button.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's some story thing. Maybe there's some story thing where he's lost his powers or whatever. He's just a regular dude or whatever. I mean, who knows? So we don't know anything about that.
Kratos has never been a regular dude ever. This is the dude that got killed, fought his way up through hell, and killed the god of hell, and then came out the other end like it was nothing.
Yeah, we gotta see. But that's a good point Addicts got though. Like, how do they narratively explain that he can't do that?
Or you could take a different look on it. That the game is so epic they had to limit his jumps.
And he could
they had to limit his jumps. Okay, they had to limit his jumps, but he has to punch the same dude 5 times to kill him. Okay, got you.
We gotta see. We
I
gotta
tried,
see.
man. I
We've
tried.
beaten this topic to death. Let's get back to Lord Soft with the what's going on with Microsoft. What's the latest?
Back to the cloud, baby. No, so,
Back to the cloud.
Really quickly, like again, this is the coolest stuff about this information, right? At a pre-GDC conference, they finally announced that they have an actual cloud gaming division dedicated to moving the Xbox brand beyond consoles in the future, right? And the most interesting thing about this is they finally acknowledge it themselves. Everything we talked about the cloud and what they're doing is speculation on our part. It's always been.
Right.
You never had Phil Spencer or anybody come out and be like, yeah, I mean, they've talked about the cloud in respect to like offloading, CPU intensive stuff in Sea of Thieves and Crackdown. But again, it's become something of a joke because we haven't seen it really. Like Crackdown, hopefully is going to be at E3, and hopefully all that multiplayer stuff is intact and we can actually see this stuff at work. We're seeing it at work in some ways with the stuff with Sea of Thieves and like the water physics and stuff like that. But this is all stuff that's been speculation, and they finally came out and said it. That's one. Two, the thing about it is that with all of the purchases they've made coming up to this, with PlayFab, with Simply Gone, with Havoc, all the stuff they've been purchasing up until now to sort of shore up this initiative. Now we see Fortnite going to mobile. We see PUBG going to mobile. Simply Gone is their specialty is that getting all this stuff to work across platforms, right? Scalability across platforms. So the fact that those things are so big and they're going to continue to be so big, this future that everybody saw kind of fairly far away, I think we're looking to see it in the next couple of years, man. I think and that's the thing. Like with Phil talking about it, with them being up front about it, this stuff, we're going to see this towards the end of the X's life cycle. And I think it's going to be a big part of whatever the next Xbox is.
Gotcha.
I think is huge. Like to me, I don't know. On the hardware side, they said we're going to keep making consoles, and I'm happy about that because whatever they do, whatever initiatives they do have in the future, I want to experience it on an Xbox console, whatever the case may be. The question is, how does this stuff translate to them trying to take over the world and be on Nintendo and be on PlayStation?
Right.
What is that going to be?
Skynet?
Yeah, that's what it is. Everybody keeps saying the same thing as Skynet, baby.
Oh God.
Let's get CLoWnZ in here, man. So now that we've got all this information's come out, it looks like Microsoft is doubling down on their cloud division. What is it? Satya. Actually, no, my boy Kareem Chowdhury.
Kareem Chowdhury.
Kareem Chowdhury, who I met. Good dude. I believe he's the one in the trailer that was like, "It's a monster."
It's a monster.
Yeah, it's the monster guy. Like, but really cool guy, very intelligent. I think he's heading it. And according to him, he said that Phil kind of approached him and said that, they really want to get involved and double down in that space. We know about the them acquiring the Havoc, Simply Gone and PlayFab.
PlayFab.
So they've made all these little bold kind of cloud gaming acquisitions and stuff like that. So now that you're hearing this kind of stuff, clowns, like what do you think about it? Where do you think Microsoft's headed? Do you think it's a good idea? What's your overall feelings on it?
Well, I predicted this about 4 years ago in 4 Guys with Quarters, and
Clownstradamus.
Well, you see, it's just so much cheaper for corporations to do this because they can make diskless hardware, right, which would drop the cost. It gives them better DRM over their content. You're not going.
The question is, I hate to interrupt you for a second. Like, how much would it drop the cost though? Would it be worth that dropping cost? Like to have a backlash when it comes to diskless media?
They're gearing us up towards that way now. I don't know if there will be a backlash. There might be because there's still some people that like physical discs. So they could always make an add-on like Sega Genesis did with the Sega CD. That's a possibility. But if imagine producing in bulk, though, the discounts corporations would get, making this diskless.
Okay. I feel what you're saying. And just like also in general, as far as like besides the diskless stuff, like what about like the whole, like we know Crackdown is a title that very important in reference to like in-game offloading stuff. Like, do you see that happening? Like stuff like how Crackdown is supposedly be doing the multiplayer and the destruction and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. Okay. Everything in the cloud.
Gotcha. All right. So this could be real, is what you're saying. Look like this.
Yeah, definitely.
This is not a fable. This is because we've been hearing this talk before, right? And prior to that, it was like, yeah. Outside of Titanfall, we didn't really hear much of that.
It's in the end, it's cheaper for corporations, and hopefully they'll pass that discount down to the consumer.
No doubt. Lord King, let you jump in.
They're not passing nothing down to us.
Well, I mean, we can hope, right?
It's the Ronald Reagan economics, trickle down economics. It's not happening. It never works. It never works.
It might be falling off the back of a truck.
You see, and I knew you would say that because a lot of your stuff came off.
Oh my God!
Yo, but I want you to understand this part, right? And this is you got to understand this part. When you're rich, you're not going out handing out money. You knew what it is to be poor, so you're holding on to that money as much as possible. All right, and you're trying to get more to ensure that you don't end up like the poor. So, to even consider the fact to think, this is why digital isn't a $9.99. This is why you can't get Super Lucky Tail instead of $29.99. It's $9.99. That would be awesome for you, right? That'll be them kicking you back something, right? Not gonna happen. It's always going to be the premium price. And I know you're saying the brick and mortar stores is the reason why it's like that. And when we go completely digital, we're going to kick these brick and mortar stores out of the way. Yeah. At the same $59.95, because they're going to tell you that, well,
Monopoly?
The development cost is this,
Monopoly.
Exactly. Microsoft has shown you, like Clown said, they're moving in that direction. Like Sovereign said, this is the wave of the future. But they have to offset their costs with charging you like a premium dollar. Is that premium dollar $39.95? It could be. We could see a part where we lost a chunk of, let's say, $15. Is that given back? Could be. But then what was the price of the system to make? It's always going to weigh left or right. It's not in the benefit of the consumer. Even though Microsoft has shown they're a little bit more consumer friendly than others, don't get it wrong. They're in the business to make a buck, not lose a dollar.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, because Face 23 BKNY in the chat, as he says, he thinks Microsoft's going in this direction because they can't compete in traditional sense with Sony. So it's better to put their stuff on other platforms to get some of the stuff like Nintendo PC, Sony tablets. What do you guys feel about that? Because we're also hearing stuff in the streets like,
what do you mean they can't compete?
What they say is that
they sold 22 million in America. Sony sold 25 million in America. Their base is in Europe, the European base, because they got a foothold over there. They made strategic moves to get a foothold there before Microsoft launched in those countries. And Microsoft is traditionally weak in those countries. Stop with the tribalism.
But this is the thing when you talk about Microsoft and Xbox, right? I mean, all Xbox fans, I think we have to acknowledge the fact that just the Xbox brand doesn't have the pull that PlayStation or Nintendo has on a global scale.
Just because it doesn't have the pull doesn't mean it's not competing.
No,
right.
But again,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
That's to us.
People be acting like if Microsoft ain't tripling their sales, they're not competing at all. No, you're competing.
But you have to understand, like that's what it means to us. But when they're in that boardroom, it has a totally different meaning, right?
When you're in that boardroom and they say they made $4.5 billion in profit this year, I still don't understand that. What are you talking about?
More. They always want more. They always want more.
So the boardroom is not happy with what's going on. Why is Phil getting promoted like in mass?
Bill, listen.
No, you just said boardroom.
I'm telling you.
Everything you say in the boardroom is disagreeing with you.
If there was any truth whatsoever, right? If there was any truth whatsoever to Microsoft wanting to divest itself from Xbox, right? Phil went in there and said, "All right, I'm good. Let me keep making my consoles, and I'm gonna give you a way that we're gonna take over everything. We're gonna be everywhere." And they're like, "Okay," because that's what Microsoft cares about, right? No matter how well Xbox is doing, Microsoft cares about Microsoft's bottom line.
It doesn't matter how well anybody's doing. That's the overall direction in this gaming industry.
That's fine, but the thing about it is, if they know that on a global scale, in the console space, they don't have the same recognition and pull that PlayStation or Nintendo does, then what do? You open that up, right? You open that up and you go to other places, right? Now, the question people have is, does that mean they're going to try to put their stuff on PlayStation, on Nintendo? That's
the rumor in the street.
They're not doing that. Like, they're fucking people who think that's retarded. Like, I'm sorry. Like, people who they have not done one thing besides Minecraft to make me think anything remotely is close to them putting other stuff on a platform.
I hear where you're going, Lord Addict. The only counter I would say, and again, I agree with you so far, they have not shown that way, but a lot of people, again, in this console war, they look at
a lot of people are wrong, but I don't be highlighting them.
They look at stuff like Play Anywhere, right? They look at stuff like obviously the Game Pass.
And I have a counter to that too. I have a counter to that too for
Go for it.
What other brand does Sony and Nintendo own a platform on that brand? Can they post stuff to? Can they post stuff to another platform like Windows 10 and make money off of it? Do they own something like Windows 10? No, like, can the other two even do remotely anything like that?
No, they
can't. They can't. If they had a platform like that, I guarantee you, if PlayStation Now was popping, that shit would already be on PlayStation Now. Everything would be. Right, but it's not, so they can't do it. They don't have the infrastructure on those other platforms just to be popping and be like, this is mine, because they don't.
Well, the problem with the Gaikai thing ended up being like a lot of people just didn't like the latency. It just wasn't well received, right? It was one of those things that, maybe at the time when it's launched, like as we know now coming, 5G and all that stuff's coming, faster speeds and stuff like that coming. So maybe cloud infrastructure becomes more viable, you know what I'm saying? But this is something that Microsoft is going to do. Like they're basically foreshadowing.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? As far as cloud,
it's something the entire industry is trying to get to, but Microsoft has the infrastructure to do it probably 5 to 10 years before anyone else.
So the question is, and I'm spoiling my damn poll question at the end of the show, but anyway, the question is, because of this, what do we, the Lords, think? Does Microsoft lose their commitment to the console space, or do they still, or is this just something that people are overreacting? This is just something they're doing in addition to the console space.
I think they recognize the strength of giving people options, right? They're the only ones that give their consumers this many options, right? So they recognize that. At the same time, in the long term, right? They're not going to tell us right now we're dead in the console. They're not going to say that. They're never going to tell you that, right? So in the long term, if they feel it's more profitable for them to be an app somewhere rather than invest in their own hardware, they're going to go back on this promise, and we're not going to see a console. I'm telling you, and it's going to be what Microsoft as a whole wants. Because the thing about it is,
I agree with that.
If at some point they decide, we need to be on these other platforms, forget about this. Because the thing is, Sony or PlayStation, neither one of them is going to agree to have an Xbox app or whatever on their platform with you still having your own hardware. They're not going to agree to that. They're not going to play ball there. They're gonna,
even if they go to app, I highly doubt to go to another console. I just don't. Literally, like maybe if like I just don't see that happening. Like, because I'm telling you, like Sony is Microsoft.
Let me cut it 1 second. I feel where you're going, but what surprised me is in this article was when they were talking about Rainbow Six Siege, how that's using Microsoft Azure servers on PlayStation. I didn't even know that. That kind of bugged me out right there. I was like, really?
Well, that's something different than putting your exclusives on the console.
No, I agree.
Like that's just business. We're talking about services. That's probably a completely different service than the Xbox brand. Like,
I'm talking
they have to contact Microsoft's Azure, whatever they're called. But I'm not trying to butcher it, but you get what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, like there's just no way. Like, because let's be real here. Like Microsoft will be like, well, we'll make more money, but what's going to eventually happen to 2 to 3 years after Microsoft Go's apps? Sony and Nintendo are going to go. Then we're going to have the same conversation, but it's going to be services and not platforms.
Got you, Lord Clowns. What do you feel?
So how are you going to compete with the other platforms when you have your apps on their apps? That makes no sense.
Windows 10 is everywhere.
There you go. It's not competing. It's about winning another way. You're not going to compete directly anymore. That's the worry with this.
They try to compete with Steam all the time. Like, I don't understand why you're saying they're not trying to compete.
They're buying Steam. What are you talking about?
They're not even there. There you go.
Hey,
I mean, if you think about it, they're not.
I am predicting that they're eventually going to buy Steam because it's the de facto for PC gaming. But Windows 10 is in almost every home, right? Everybody owns a computer, whether you're in Europe. Probably,
and that's because that's their platform.
Yep.
Yeah, and
that's not a Sony platform. It makes sense to put on their. I get that, but that's.
Let Clowns finish.
And I think in the future, once people are more comfortable with Windows 10 being everywhere, Microsoft being everywhere, we could probably even see TVs with Windows 10 built in and an Xbox app.
Yep.
Samsung.
I mean, and that's the thing. That's what they're saying. Like it can happen because at the point where it becomes financially the smart thing to do rather than continuing to build your own stuff and you can have your hands in everywhere. That's what they want. That is the ultimate.
The smart things have been. You could use that same logic right now. Why ain't they shit on there right now? Like, that's the business move right now. Why haven't they done it? If that's the superior business move they have to do.
Right. It's not there yet. It's not completely there. Think about it, right? If you have, let's say they do the Xbox app thing, right? And they still have their own hardware, right? But let's say only on Xbox can you actually download the games and play them locally. Everywhere else, though, it's off the cloud completely, right? There's no software download directly to that device, right? Now you're talking about a quality issue, right? You cannot have your name out there on another device with an inferior product than what you have at home, because at that point you're killing your name, right? So you have to get the tech to a point where it's the same across everything. And this is what they're starting to do with PUBG Online, with Fortnite Online, and having it across all of these different platforms. It's not there yet. They're talking about it because they know it's a concrete thing they're going to do.
Right.
It's not there yet, though.
They're making the moves to put it in place and make everybody dependent on them.
Yep.
Interesting. And what about this whole narrative about the 2 billion gamers? You know what I'm saying? Like, across the board, and they wanting to reach in that space. So you think this is the play? Like,
that's the play.
Interesting.
They want to be everywhere. They want to be everywhere because they know specifically in the console space on a worldwide scale, they cannot compete with the PlayStation or Nintendo name. It'll never be at that top. And as a Microsoft fan, as an Xbox fan, we have to acknowledge that. If we look at the 360 generation, right? The 360 was their chance to do it. And simply by the fact that PlayStation was able to come back at the end of that generation.
That's a good point. And they had the year head start. That's a good point.
It shows you that, like King has said in the past, right? Xbox is the brand that we have here. It's not the brand that a lot of people want it to be here. Like if you tell me right now, listen, I'm gonna put you in a time machine. I'm gonna take you back to 1999. In 1999, Sega doesn't fail and the Dreamcast is a success. But you have the option to have Microsoft jump into the gaming space. I'm gonna take Sega.
I think in order for them to go third party like that, they would have to completely fail. And I mean, not the way you think completely fell. Like they're like, we just can't do this. And I don't think that's going to be a point because they're always going to have that support, maybe from the American audience and some of the European audience. Like, I don't think they'll get to the point where they need to go third party.
But that's the thing. It's not a need thing. Again, it's about how much they're going to look at how much money they make here and how much money they make there. And they're going to go the route that makes them the most money. And again, if those decisions are dictated by Microsoft.
My point is, then why? Never mind. I'm not going to.
No, I want you to get up because you're making.
I'm good.
No, don't give up. What you're saying is a lot of people that people are overreacting.
Right.
That this is something that they're just future proofing, but there is never a chance of them getting out of the console space because they're making money, they're successful, and it's an overreaction. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what kind of Addict is getting on if he doubled down on it.
And I agree, except for the fact that
they literally made like $4 billion in profit from the Xbox brand last gen. Like, but they're going third party, man. They're doing so bad.
No, nobody's saying they're going third party.
Say that.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying because I want them to continue in the console space, and they said as much that they're going to continue that. I'm just saying in the long term, if it becomes viable to deliver the same experiences, quality experiences as you would get locally everywhere else.
But that can literally be with any brand. Like Sony could literally have the same thought process when they go app. Everyone can have the same thought process.
No, but like you said, they have the infrastructure
to do said plan.
That's what I said. Like
we're in agreement. We're all in agreement. If you really look at what we're saying,
I'm just saying that thought process could be used on all of the platform owners, not just Microsoft.
Right, but all of the platform owners are not in the position of Microsoft to actually make that a reality. They don't have the infrastructure to make that a reality. We've seen with Sony what happened with the Black thing. They didn't.
If anything, they would come to Microsoft for that infrastructure. If anything, they would come to them for that for that expertise.
Lord King, we've been cutting you out. What you feeling on
this? You haven't been cutting me out. I've been agreeing,
checking us, man, letting us know that we can get a calm down.
I've been agreeing with everything both of you have been saying. I've been agreeing with CLoWnZ. I've been agreeing with Sovereign, and I've been agreeing with Addict. We're at a fork in the road where if they're hedging their bets, and they showed you where they're hedging their bets into this cloud. Now, where does that cloud take us? Everybody is so mystified by where it's going to take us. It's going to take us to where they want to be. They want to be the next Netflix. They want to be the next app. They want to be formless like water. You understand? That way, it can go anywhere at any time. When you pick up your phone and you have the same exact experience on your $800, $900 phone that is more than your Xbox, price-wise.
There is...
Go for that. True. Let Addict get in. Let Addict get in.
And there is, like, as much as I hate to say this, like, as of right now, Microsoft couldn't even do that if they wanted to, even if they had the infrastructure tomorrow, because you can't put... First off, I don't think something like Game Pass in the long run is going to be something that's going to be around, because I guarantee you in the next 5 years, all of these third parties that are supporting Game Pass are going to pull out of supporting Game Pass because they're going to make their own Game Pass.
That's a bold one.
And then before you know, you got people like Ubisoft, maybe not Sega, because I don't know if Sega would want to maintain that infrastructure. But then Microsoft's going to have to rely on their first parties. And as of right now, they showed me they have no real... What's what I'm looking for?
No, I know.
Like, the only real game that they have right now that they could sell on a Game Pass is Sea of Thieves.
Right.
Like, is people in the next 5 years, would people subscribe to a whole service for one game, like maybe 5 games?
So you don't believe in the Phil's dub vision with the doubling down on the first part, like things are going to be in position?
It's I guarantee you guys that. I mean, there's already rumor that Square Enix is doing it. There's rumor that Warner Brothers is doing it. I mean. Like, it's going to happen.
To you, then, that this is a failed strategy. Then this is a strategy that you don't see long term working with Game Pass. And if that's the case, if there's failed strategies, and they're banking a lot on this, right? We know that they're banking a lot on this. So if these things don't pan out, then what happens?
I don't think they're banking a lot as much as you think. Is because
it's an option.
Let me just say this. Xbox is the only system that gives you choice. Okay? You really have absolute choice. Sony closed off the whole idea of EA Access. Microsoft embraced the idea of EA Access. I said before, when Phil had that Steam shirt on, or a Valve shirt, that I thought Steam would be on Xbox. It made proper sense. Right? I feel they are open to all ideas. And they are trying to view it in that prism that if we're open, we won't close ourselves off to certain ideas. Nintendo is a complete traditionalist in the way that they deal with their corporate business, not their gaming. Their gaming division, they're open-minded with wherever they're going to take the new controller, wherever they're going to take the system, right? If they use that same openness with business strategy, then Nintendo would have a whole lot more third-party interaction and stuff like that. We're seeing that happen now. All right, remember what I said with the dinosaurs dying, the younger are coming up, and it's changing the philosophy and the DNA inside Nintendo. We'll give it a couple of more years. Nintendo will be like a Sony and a Microsoft. Right. Microsoft is a little bit more progressive, is because of our European DNA, our Western DNA. We're more inviting, we're multicultural, so we're doing things in a different fashion. All right. Sony is a traditional Japanese company, whereas fundamentally their sound in this, they do hardware and they're adding the games. So when Sovereign says stuff at cut and paste, they see a formula that works, they're going to work with that. Right. When Addict says God of War looks like The Last of Us type of thing, this is what they do because they know it's successful. Right. Okay? Microsoft will branch out and try to do unconventional things. Sometimes it fails, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it succeeds. But we have to embrace that they all will be apps. PlayStation tried it with that Now app because every television from Sony launched with it.
Actually,
all right, just like Clown said, it launched on every television. Microsoft doesn't have a television division. If it did, it would have Game Pass. So know that they want to get to that space. They will have to partner with a Samsung like they partnered in the past or a big brand to bring that to you. But don't think for one instant that they don't want to be the next Netflix or next Amazon. Yeah. That's where the bucks is at.
Preach, man.
I agree with you. Shout out to Samuel Tolbert in the chat. Shout out to TF God, in reference to what we were talking about earlier, what Alec was talking about. Their feeling is that the market can't support, 100 different subscription services like a Game Pass. Yeah. And Sam told me a good point. He was just like, that's why Warner Brothers actually joined with EA Origin Access. So that is true. Financially, it might not be in place for that. The last point I just want to jump into, because I know this is a great topic, y'all. This actually, C King, it was a good topic.
No, it's always a good topic. I don't ever disrespect his knowledge when it comes to things that I don't know. Yeah. I don't know it. So when he knows it and he puts it out there, that's my brother, and I'm rocking with him. We beat the hell out of it, and nobody does it better than he does.
But to be honest, this is the most in-depth conversation we've had about it.
Because you know what? Remember when I tweeted it out? I said we got confirmation. So now your ass is staring at the ball. Leave the park as you flick your bat and you staring down the picture. Somebody beam this man.
Baby. But I want to jump in real quick. Yeah, man. I mean, this is really good. I mean,
notice I did baseball for you, Sovereign.
Shout out to Addict making some good points, man. Also, too. But I wanted to get with this because the Verge article and the Game Industry Biz article, when they were talking about that whole 2 billion, and by 2020, that's how Microsoft, envisions how many people playing video games, and they want to reach them all. They think the parameters are changing. So like the way they're looking at it right now, according to this article, it's like, right now there's 144 million Minecraft owners, right? In Microsoft's eyes, even the ones that are on PlayStation 4 is an Xbox customer.
Yeah.
Yep.
They said anyone who plans to play Sea of Thieves on Windows 10 in Microsoft's eyes is an Xbox customer. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who does streaming on Mixer with PUBG, they're looking at it as an Xbox customer. So it's just, I think the rules are changing. You know what I'm saying? And how they envision themselves down the road. I agree with Addict though, I don't see them abandoning the console space. It's still successful for them. But go ahead, Addict. I heard you joined. Go ahead.
Until they abandon the console infrastructure, and they abandon, until they formally announce that they even can, I just don't see.
Go for it.
When it comes to that, it's like it'd be different if they had a really hard time on the original Xbox. Wasn't even a huge success, but it was still successful considering it was their first console. The 360 did phenomenally well the entire generation, but started dying down at the end. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Xbox One is still ahead of the curve when it comes to the 360, and the 360 was a huge success. So, like, I just don't see the trends for them to have to do it.
Well, they are doing it though. We can't. Yeah, and Phil jumped out and they said it.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about going to going third party with their brand to other apps.
Oh, you're talking about the app thing.
The app thing's happening. I'm
talking about putting the app on competing platforms.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about two different things.
Yeah, I'm not talking. The only way that would happen is if they stop making consoles. That's the thing. Like to me, because again, I don't think either Sony or Nintendo plays ball. They're like, no, hell no. If you're gonna put Xbox products on our system, you're not gonna have a product. You're gonna have the games, and that's it. I mean, it makes sense,
And they can easily abandon the Xbox brand. I mean, that's the overall goal.
Hit those likes. I see 47 people. Let's hit those likes. Please.
That's the overall goal. They're tired of paying for what it costs them to make the console. Like, they want to get rid of that.
Yeah. So you think they want to get out the console space?
Oh, I've never seen. No, my argument was they're not going to start putting their stuff on the platform on other platforms. Like it would have to be something drastic. Because even if they do that, like I just don't see it. Like they're going to keep it on their platforms regardless.
What's up, Salty? Yeah, I mean, listen. To me, I think this thing is future proofing. I think the brand isn't going nowhere. I think they're fine right now. They're healthy right now. I just think that this is a future-proof move. That this could be. Shout out to Fonz in the chat. He's just actually saying exactly what I'm saying for Brad. I think this is something like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, down the road. This to me, this is just a future-proofing, hedging your bet.
This literally couldn't even. This might not even be in my lifetime.
It's a possibility. Who knows? You're absolutely right.
This could be 10 to 30 years from now. It just depends on. In order for this future to happen, internet has to drastically improve how it is, especially in the United States.
But that is improving. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like that is improving. 5G is coming. Infrastructure is improving.
I mean, we get good infrastructure, and then we get stuff on the vice versa that hurts it from growing.
All I'm saying is, at this point, it's going right now. We can't see it because right now infrastructure is not in place. Right. So I hear what you're saying. All I'm saying is, 10 years from now, that could change. Things change. Think about us now on fiber optic, and think about us back.
See, but here's the thing, though.
Think about something like that. You see what I'm saying?
Here's the thing, though, is the average is the consumer that you guys think that they're trying to attack. Are they all going to pay for something like fiber optic? Because let's be real here, it's not going to take something like fiber optic, but I pay $120 a month for it.
Your confined space. You're thinking about right now.
Yeah,
you got to jump out.
There are some European countries where I think they get faster internet for free through fiber.
Yep. Yes, sir. That is true.
And that's why I say America. Like we have so many infrastructures that's put in place to down the internet.
We will not have enough time for these other topics.
Hey, we got to go.
Let me close it. Let me close it up real quick and just say, whatever it is that they're doing, they're gonna. If you're a fan of Microsoft, you're a fan of Xbox, get ready because we're gonna take it on the chin because they're trailblazing again. If you're a staunch supporter or defender of whatever they do, once again they're at the forefront of this and they're gonna take it on the chin because up until it becomes viable across the board, the Nintendo and PlayStation are going to act like this stuff is not relevant. And it's like, no, we're not going that route. We're not going that route. No, we're not going that route. And so ultimately they will go that route. Microsoft's going to take it on the chin.
Online infrastructure with the.
I mean, look what happened.
People thought that was foolish when Microsoft did that.
Look what happened with Nintendo when they didn't think going to cartridges was a big deal. Like they're like, we need to stay here, and then they ended up doing the same thing the next generation.
Absolutely. absolutely. We'll see what's gonna happen. This is good. Yo, y'all gonna love the poll question. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all gonna love the poll question. We gonna move on. We got, like King said, we killed this thing to death, but it was a great discussion. We had to jump on it. So I'm gonna get the next topic. I'll breeze through it as fast as I possibly can. So we know Microsoft has announced that this is going to be the biggest E3 showing ever. They've moved.
That's funny.
They moved their whole thing to a new venue. So rest in peace to the Galen Center. We've had great memories to Galen Center. Phil Spencer
The hell with that small place. Oh God.
Shout out to those
The hell with it.
Amazing breakfasts we used to have Phil used to come out with a shirt. Get served.
Now they're gonna have the same thing. It's just gonna be bigger.
So
he's not gonna have to actually come out into the gym. He's gonna just be up in like the little panty thing and be like, "How you guys doing?"
Right? Come down, spotlight. So yeah, man, it's going to the Microsoft Theater. You know what I mean? So it's going to be this whole huge new venue. And what I thought was interesting is that they're actually still keeping Sunday as their day. As we know, last year they debuted that because they said they wanted to give enough time to the Scorpio, and give it its day. But they're still sticking with the Sunday, having the briefing, the Microsoft briefing on June 10th to allow more fans and partners to do that. And they're not they're not abandoning the Los Angeles Convention Center. They're still going to have a mixer booth there. You can play, stream, and interact, kind of thing. So they're doing this. They're still saying they're doing this in collaboration with the ESA. And I just wanted to bring this attention to the Lords. What do we feel about it? Also, in reference to the rhetoric, obviously biggest E3 ever. How do we feel about that? How important is this E3 for them? And also, do we think it will deliver? So let's start with Lord CLoWnZ, the new venue, their updated presence. What do we feel about that and the biggest E3 ever for Microsoft?
Well, I think the venue move is just because it's probably cheaper for them since they already sponsor it. As far as the biggest E3 presence ever, I have no idea. It could be more about the cloud or their deals with partners, maybe what they're looking forward to in the future. So hopefully, they can elaborate on some of this cloud stuff and where they're headed.
Absolutely. Now, what about like Sunday, like retaining the Sunday date as opposed to going back how it used to be to the Monday? They would go first in the morning or whatever it would be, and then Sony would come after. Do you think that's a good move?
Yeah, I think it's a fine move. Maybe they just want to say what they got to say before somebody leaks it.
No doubt. And the rhetoric of behind like biggest E3 ever. You think it's hyperbole? Do you think that the chest is out, that they're coming with the goods? What do you think?
I think it's, I hate to say this. I just think it's marketing hype.
Absolutely.
But I do think that the fans are probably going to be excited, as always. We were excited about the X. So it's going to be something exciting for us fans in general.
Absolutely. All right, Lord Attic, what do you feel about all this? The new venue. We ain't going to be in the Galen Center no more, man. Yeah, so what do you feel now? Microsoft.
At the end of the day, it's like, it just depends. Like, first off, I completely 100% agree with CLoWnZ. I think if anything, it could be a multiple mass different things that they're trying to do. They could try to be promoting the building itself by doing a stage there at the biggest gaming convention. I mean, because they said in the actual interview when they were showing the building that they're trying to, have that one of the biggest places that, events could happen. They actually mentioned UFC and stuff by name. So it's, it's like I said, they could be trying to, cross market that between different brands. And it's like they probably get a massive discount for being there. So, that's definitely one of the things I could see. But, like, it doesn't matter if it's bigger if they don't actually use it. Like, let's say that instead of like Forza Horizon 4, instead of having one car, they have 4 up there. Like, you get what I'm saying, though. Like,
they have them racing around.
No doubt. But what about, okay, I'm gonna let you finish.
I was more interested in how he's like they really went on and on about FanFest being part of that building. Like, they mentioned FanFest part of that building. So, like, I don't know. Like, does that mean they're gonna? Because one of the reasons that I was told last year at E3, the reason that they limit how many people's in FanFest is because of the Galen Center. Because every person that gets in FanFest, they let them go to the conference. So like, are they going to do more of like a fan recognition thing where they let more fans in? Or are they going to have, where they let a little bit more fans in to actually see the conference? Because Sony does the same thing. They don't do a FanFest, but they let like the first couple hundred people in the back.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle FanFest this year. I would agree. Yeah, I would agree.
I think people need to.
Yeah, finish and then I ask you a question.
I think people need to stop like tripping, like acting like because they got a bigger venue that's going to mean anything. Like they could literally just use that one room that we saw. Like who cares how big the building is if they use one massive room and that's all?
Yeah, I feel you. My question to you is that there was some early information that had leaked like a month ago. There was a big Boothgate controversy. I know we jumped out in front of it because we saw the initial Force Place plan and it didn't look so good for Microsoft. So it turns out that was not really the case, and that the venue is big. Does that make you feel better that Microsoft has more to show? I know me and you may have been a little guilty of being a little nervous about that floor plan that we saw that got leaked. That was very.
And shout out to people on Twitter because Tim Dog, Lord Tim Dog, he had a poll that asked what was the most overreaction when it comes to Microsoft, and that was one of the options. And like, I definitely understand, some people's opinion on how that was an overreaction, but like me personally, I don't think that was an overreaction. Like, if you have the booth size half the size as, like, literally their booth size was half the size as Sony's PR team. Like that was not an early, like that wasn't an overreaction. Like if you don't have the space to show me games, I don't think you're having games. Like I don't think how that's an overreaction. But that's either here or there. But
no,
I mean it's whatever. Like they could do stuff there. Like it doesn't really bother me.
No doubt. Lord Saw, what you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, if you own the venue, use the venue. Like it's across the street. If it were far away, I can see why, the choice to use the Galen Center makes sense. But you're across the street. You're in the middle of everything, and it's your building. Use it to your advantage. So yeah, I'm glad they're finally doing that. And like, Attic kind of took my point with the FanFest thing. FanFest, is usually anywhere from 500 maybe to 700 people. They're all about engagement and engaging with, getting the fans to engage.
It's like 500 people, but if they have to put more than 500 people in, it's like, where can we fit these people in this conference, man? like remember King, how like we got into FanFest and they let so many people in because of that giant fiasco that happened last year? We were actually in the bleachers to the right of the because they didn't have enough room for everyone. Because normally the entire FanFest can fit on the floor where they're supposed to.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but they actually had way more people than they thought they were going to have because they just, like, it was such a fiasco because not only did that website go down once, it went down twice.
Right. We all got in when we all said, we're in. I said
something's wrong. Too many people won the lotto that day, Cloud.
And then people saying, well, I don't, I think people are exaggerating by getting mad at that. It's like, no, it's like, look, I can assure you that there is a lot of people because they didn't announce it for like 3 or 4 hours after that happened.
Yep.
Because remember they said, well, we're not having the later drawings in 3 hours, and then they delayed it again, and then they delayed it again, and then they explained what happened, and I was like, look, like, I completely understand. People are like, well, why did people go out immediately after they won FanFest and buy their plane tickets and hotel? Well, are they going to wait? Like, if you got the money and you have the FanFest ticket, do you expect people to wait till like the day before when it's like $1,500 to have a coach to go from here to there? Like, that made no sense to me. Microsoft knew that they needed to do something, and like they not only did they give people tickets, they were actually letting a lot of people in that because the first time if it messed up, you got the E3 ticket. The second time if it messed up, they were just letting you have the FanFest ticket.
Yeah, absolutely. Sal, you had something to say? I was going to give it to King.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, even if, let's say, they let 1,000 people, 1,200 people, whatever, in the FanFest, and not everybody can get into the actual into the actual press conference, the fact that you have all the fans there, you can still have it, on closed circuit for the people that don't fit into the actual, press conference. They feel they're part of it. They're still located in one centralized place, and the festivities continue. It's not like you're separating people. So I just think they want all the Xbox love to be in one place, and it just makes sense. Another thing is that being their own building, they can start prepping now. Like, they can start prepping, they can start rehearsing now, because as we said before, they're not great at announcing stuff, and they're not great at the stuff that Sony and Nintendo are good at. So it gives them the opportunity that from now get it right.
A big thing, I think that one of the biggest highlights is don't expect a lot of stuff to get leaked this year, because
I hope not.
Every year at the GOW Center, when they do those rehearsals for the whole, that's literally how they're always leaked, because someone sees it. Microsoft is going to have this press conference where only because you if you're going to a third party event like that where it's not your building, you can't really do a whole lot. And I don't know if they own that building or not, but they have more say on what's going on in that building than they do the GOW Center.
I would agree. That's a great point.
It's really hard to keep stuff at wraps because you can't stop certain people that work for that building. And if that person knows relatively anything, he can do serious damage. Like, imagine if the Microsoft, if Master Chief Collection wasn't leaked.
No, it's a good point, because I remember prior to the show, like, someone leaked almost Phil's whole spiel about what he was going to announce, and I'm just like, wow, you know what I mean? And
plus, if it gets leaked this year, I guarantee you Microsoft is going to know exactly who did it, because they had control over who was there.
No doubt. Lord King, what do you feel about this E3 presence, the Microsoft Theater Sunday? You know what I mean? Biggest E3 ever. Where you at?
Well, Phil understands the whole symmetry when it comes to Sunday, sunshine.
Your mic is low, bro.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You can hear me now?
Yeah, I get
Purpose? I said Phil sees the whole symmetry when it, Sunday, sunshines, have enough sunshine for everybody else for the whole rest of the week. What I feel is that since when do we take a positive and turn it into a negative?
Since the internet existed.
No, but it's just this whole. We have a big center. Like when the plans leaked before, people were standing on podiums and little stools and ha, you got a small space. And I was like,
after Jake Barr, he said they're gonna be selling dilators out that spot.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, they got a small space. In the grand scheme of things, we're not privy to really what's going on in these companies.
Facts.
Okay, so all you're doing is speculation and Yasa Boston in the corner playing the fool. And then it comes out that you're wrong. No, I don't ever see nobody backtrack on they wrong. I don't ever see anybody put their hand up and say, yo, they got me. I don't
unless you Twitter force them to.
Yeah, but I don't.
You got the screenshot. Yeah, that's the.
I don't care for it. Like, see, because they have a bigger center.
I gotta interrupt you a second. King David is not that man. This man made a video. Was like, I was wrong every occasion he's been wrong on this podcast.
It's like, yo, listen. You gotta stand up and be a man held accountable for your words. Your word is your bond. If you stand for nothing, you fall for everything. All right. So I want you to understand. They got this big center, and they're doing Fan Fest, and they're showing these games, and they say this is going to be the biggest ever. Yes, it's a bigger building. Yes, they're going to have more people. Yes, they're going to probably show more games. Yes, they're going to have more interaction. So yes, is it the biggest thing for them? Yes. No doubt. It's a yes. So it's no rhetoric. Is it hyperbole? It's not hyperbole. Like he said, if there's 2 cars, it's 3 cars. If it's 2 pirates dancing, it's 12 pirates dancing. Who cares? The
part thing that never. the part of the thing that never made sense to me when it comes to stuff like that is like, I understand, people get tired of, I see a lot of people going to Aaron Greenberg a lot over, some of the remarks he makes when he hypes the brands. It's like,
he's the hype man.
Job.
That's his job.
He's Flavor Flav.
He's
like
Flavor said, it's like when they say biggest Microsoft thing ever, like you have to understand that's just part of the marketing spiel.
Yes.
Like,
that's literally done in every section of the industry.
It's going to be the same exact thing as BlackBerry, but less. What the hell are you talking about?
I mean, it's like perspective. It's like perspective. Exactly how Phil Spencer announced. What happened was someone asked him. They were joking. They said, "Can you link all of E3 right now?" And he said, "I could, but then at E3, people would say there was no new news."
Yep.
Fair enough.
You see, we are at a point now, and I love all the information that came out about this stuff. I love it all. I love the space of Nintendo. Nintendo had a space that was beautiful last year. This takes, and I'm seeing
Nintendo section was crowded last year.
Yeah, it was insane. But this opens up one of our biggest concerns: space. If you've never been to E3 last year, you understood that you were shoulder to shoulder, rubbing elbows with individuals that you wouldn't want to sometimes. And it was just too crowded, and you didn't get the enjoyment that you needed. Right. One company took it out of that cramped space and said, okay, we're going to give you this space here so we can make it less cramped so it could be more enjoyable. How the hell is that bad?
No, not bad at all. It's just, like I said, a lot of people, like you said, Lord King, just have to eat their words. They didn't want to fall on their sword.
Go get that crow pie, baby. Crow pie tastes delicious in the morning.
Exactly. I'm just gonna finish this up because we got to move on. But yeah, man, I agree with all the lords. Everything Lord Clown was saying in reference to marketing. What Lord Ag is saying. I'm loving that they're controlling their own space. I think that for the most part, this is a very positive thing. I actually love the fact that they're remaining on Sunday. I think that's a great idea. I think this is something they should continue.
I think that's weird.
You think it's weird? Why? You think
I feel like last year the reason they did that was because of the X. I feel like, I don't know. It's weird that they don't go back to their Monday slot.
They want to dedicate a day to them.
Yes.
Like, even though they still share, I think Bethesda's still Sunday. Are they?
Yeah, Bethesda's still Sunday.
Sunday night.
Shout out to Brab. He said, "Will they have a band?"
But then again, the reason that it probably benefits them is probably not having a whole day to themselves. Because at the end of the day, if Bethesda announces Elder Scrolls 6 this year at E3, nothing Microsoft announced is going to be talked about.
Fable 4.
What'd you say?
I'll talk about that.
Yeah, get them, clowns, get them.
But at the end of the day, I don't think it's necessarily on having a day to themselves. I think it's about being the first event to knock off to start E3 with.
I still think it's having a day to yourself is huge. I think that 24-hour news cycle, you're in the mind share for a while, because prior to that, they would jump and they would only have the headlines for a couple of hours when they were on a Monday until Sony comes right behind. And then the other thing I didn't like is Sony had the ability to counter right away.
Now they rarely have the counter right away. They got a whole day.
That's fine. And I hear what you're saying. I completely hear what you're saying. All I'm saying is at least you got that full 24-hour cycle to have the media to yourself. I like that.
You shouldn't really, like, when it comes to stuff like that. I know that's probably something that they do think about.
No, but you can't worry about Sony. That. You
can't worry about that.
You got to do this. That's just me talking from a competitive standpoint. But I agree, as a company, you've got to do put out your message and be done. You know what I'm saying? So that's cool. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. How they do the fan fest. I like that it's in the venue. Big exciting things. I think that's kind of hyperbole. They just got to bring the games. They've got to bring the games, and I've told.
They got to. This year is the most.
Absolutely, I've told Lord King this on. If I know Phil, it's his Xbox only begotten Son, our Lord and Savior, his Lord and Savior. But this is the year I judge Phil. I'm not. I mean, he's got the box he's want. He's in position. He's at the Microsoft round table.
And I feel like he's been here long enough for at least CGI cutscenes for games he put in development.
Listen, and even if things are not finished, I think they even have to break protocol. Even if they don't like to show things that are not finished all the way yet, they have to give us a couple of, teasers.
That's what I said, CGI. Yeah. Like, even if they have to show CGI, I expect something.
Something. They have to get the base galvanized. This is the year. You know what I mean? So
if you think about it, this is the first year, besides Crackdown, maybe they'll show something about State of Decay, but they really they didn't announce anything big last year. So it's not going to be at this year's E3 besides maybe Anthem. What else could fill up that time slot?
Bill, that's what we got to see.
Forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Xbox only begotten son, King. That's your man.
I'm just saying.
Forgive us for besmirching his great name.
My profile pic speaks for itself. Bill, forgive them, for they know not what they say or do. They will be beholden after the show.
He says that now, but he all talk. He ain't doing nothing after the show.
Listen. This E3 is going to be a movie, right? It's going to be a movie. Shout out to Midnight. He's the complete photographer, 100% editor, 100% photograph genius that's going to be behind the production of a movie. There's going to be a movie. And if I feel it this way, I feel the goosebumps in this manner. And I'm going as big as, trust me when I tell you this, Addict, E3 is going to be so big for the Iron Lords podcast and for Phil Spencer himself, because Phil got a big haul. He got a haul. He said, I'm going to separate myself from these individuals because they are not on my level. I took Sunday. Sunday is my day. Y'all are not looking at the tea
ramifications because of Sunday.
Right. See what y'all doing is y'all looking at it and you're not seeing it for what it is.
Oh my God.
He said he didn't like certain things and he's changing it. When a boss doesn't like things, he does it through actions. He removes your rhetoric. He told you that y'all said y'all wasn't powerful enough. Shut up, your box is weaker. Now
we got the X.
The cycle, they didn't like how they can just come right behind, like Lord Cognito said, they come right behind. You say something, they come right behind, they take it away. You don't like that. We want that 24-hour cycle. What we gonna do? Take Sunday.
No, Fastback said, who's breathing on King's neck that's giving you goosebumps? I'm dead. They are going.
You know who's breathing on? It is the heat of the sun. And I'm telling you, open your window, let that sun in, get out that darkness.
Praise
let this
the
shine
sun.
On you.
Say it again, Klaus. Say it again,
Klaus. Praise the sun. Get down and worship and bend the knee. Because at the end of the show, if you didn't know, they brought 4K to you live. 4K in your face. They're going to do something else that's going to be amazing. And then you're going to say, well, he had the games, but can he deliver? Shut up. Just shut up. Y'all at a point right now where you're running out of excuses and you're bending the knee. It's either get down or lay down.
You gotta lay down, baby. Bend the knee. Xbox only forgot Phil Spencer. We gotta repent.
Forgive them, Phil.
You guys are ridiculous.
They know not what they do.
I'm gonna use that. Forgive them, Phil. They do not know what they do. And on that note, we're gonna move on from this topic. We're gonna move up. I want to move up a topic, Addict, because we got clowns on, and this is King's topic, and this is important to us OGs. We got to talk about it. So I'm gonna move up this topic. And that is, we might have to give a eulogy, man. Toys R Us. Lord King. What do you
I heard taps playing in the background. I heard it.
That's Klaus.
I got up to the newspaper and I saw my childhood had died front page.
And it was killed by me.
I could not.
What's killed by you? It's your generation.
It's
your generation.
Your generation murdered.
It wasn't killed by their business practice or anything like that. They did not want to compete. Nothing of that. It was killed by my generation.
It was your generation. You should have been
let
buying
me
them
know
big
the
wheels.
day that I step over your topic when you're introducing it.
Okay,
you let me know that day when I do that, and then you can go at me.
Well, King, you have permission to do that next week.
Don't worry.
Good.
I'll be back. Anyway, I saw my childhood dead. I looked at it and I said, the song played in my head. I don't want to grow up. I saw Jeffrey and them leaving. $5 billion in debt. And they got a chance from last year. They went to courts last year. They weren't able to pay out on that debt. And they have to shutter all 700 North American stores. And that is also going to spread towards the European stores and stuff like that. The reason why this thing is shutting down, and everybody's going to point to Amazon and call Amazon the evil genius in the manipulation of how they killed the brick and mortar stores where you went and got your toys. That didn't kill it. Your cell phone killed it. Your cell phone allowed you to pick up your phone and to order from the comfort of your home. Your wallet, your store, wherever you at, you're walking. Tell me right now, you want something, you pick up your phone, you click it, you don't have to go to a store. Some people don't even, we got to the point where we're so impatient, we don't even stand in line at the checkout counter, we go to the self-checkout. Because we know better, we know ourselves. We don't need help. So no longer going to the store looking for that new toy because that new toy flashed on your app and it told you that it was there. So these children don't really play with toys anyway. My son is 8 years old. He has 2 toy bins full of toys and he plays his Xbox, his PlayStation, his DS, anything but get down on that floor and use your imagination.
Talk about it.
So I bring it to you, and I know I lost a piece of me when it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone like Blockbuster.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And it's never coming back. I want to know, what was you doing and how did you feel? Because I know Lord CLoWnZ told me his beautiful, illustrious gaming history. And I know somewhere in there, Toys R Us plays a part in his development.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Let's go, CLoWnZ. There's a eulogy going on, man. We need you to say some words.
I'm a Toys R Us kid.
I don't want to grow up.
That's right, man. We know the song.
I blame Lord Attic for hunting down Jeffrey. And, once Jeffrey's gone, it killed Toys R Us. No, I mean, it's so sad because that thing was like, the hype for the 80s. You wanted something, you went to Toys R Us. They had it. They had everything, man. Like even those rare X-Men figures that came out by Toy Biz, they were at Toys R Us. You could find Iceman in those cases and those boxes. Once they unloaded it, you could wait at the door like I did many hours for it. It's just sad, man. Like, and to see all those employees that work there that love the legacy of Toys R Us. I went to the one in Brandon, Florida the other day, and the guy was like almost crying at the checkout counter. The guy that was working there, he's like, "Man, I grew up in Toys R Us. I wanted to work here. This was my dream job, and now we're closing down."
Wow. It's so sad, so sad.
And then I wanted to say, and then there's crazy vultures at Toys R Us all of a sudden because they're closing. I went there the other day for some Funko Pop figures, right? And there was a father and a son there, and the guy didn't, he mostly shopped at Amazon or whatever, probably because he was just telling his kid, he's like, grab everything Toys R Us exclusive, throw it in the cart. Toys R Us exclusives, I want it. I don't care how much I gotta pay. I want it. I want it right now. Give me everything. And his son was going down the aisle frantic, throwing everything in the cart, literally. And I got the last Raven figure, and he was so mad. But it's just sad to see that it's come to this, that they're popular now because they're going bankrupt.
Absolutely.
Like now everybody's going there, and the lines are crowded, and they're looking for deals and Toys R Us exclusives instead of just enjoying, that good old smell when you walk in. It smells like Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And the bicycles that they used to put together in the back for you, and those turtle sandboxes at the front with the sandbags. And man, I miss those game cages I used to have, where you take that slip up there.
You take the slip.
Yeah, you go to the game cage and you had that one employee that was like privileged with the keys. Like, yeah, I'm the big guy over here. I got this game.
He got a raise. That boy got a raise that week. He had that special privilege, that cage privilege.
He's like, I got Urban Champion right here for Ness. We only got 3 copies. You're lucky.
Yo, wasn't he a god to us back then?
Yes. Who got the key? Who got the key? Find Thomas. Where's Thomas?
Yo, shout out to Abacab in the chat. He said, trivia moment. One of the kids in the 80s Toys R Us commercial was Jaleel White, Steve Urkel. I never knew that.
Wow.
That's crazy. Continue, Lord Clouds, man. Take us back, man.
Yeah, when I was in there the other day, I was passing by a Toys R Us employee, and he was like, one of the older guys. He just wanted to probably retire or something. And I overheard a customer trying to bribe him. The customer's like, I got $70 here. Can you hold some exclusives for me as soon as they come off the truck next week? Like, I don't give a shit. We're closing. So yeah, I'll hold it for you, man. We got this. And I'm sitting there like, what? I want these things. I'm a real Toys R Us kid. I'm not even a nickel and dime you guys. I'm a real kid here.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
I go back to those commercials and I still watch them. And I really hope, the CEO said that after the bankruptcy, which is going to happen on Tuesday in court, they're going to start slashing prices Tuesday afternoon or something like that. But he's trying to hold out a few stores after bankruptcy in hopes of a buyer. So maybe me and Lord King can start like a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter for the $5 billion or something. Maybe we can do this and take over Toys R Us and run it right.
Let me tell you something. If you're serious about that right there,
I will actually engage you in this foolishness.
I will actually engage this foolishness to no end. I'm not playing when I say that. I honestly believe there's a lot of 80s and 70s babies that don't want to see it go. Yeah, and I will be, me and CLoWnZ will be perfect owners.
Let's do it. Let's do
the franchise, because we will bring it back and bring it to this new digital age where Attic can shop at Toys R Us.
I'm just like, when it comes to that,
put Jeffrey in the boatmobile so he can't hurt him.
I'm just hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up.
Go on.
When it comes to that, I just want to hey, Lord Cognito.
Mm-hmm. I'm listening.
Lord Cognito, what's up? What is the shopping arrangement that Lord King makes? It's Amazon, isn't it? Like, how is it my fault? You don't even shop at Toys R Us.
No, Attic. I do take my children to Toys R Us, and I do give them free range when we walk inside the store, and I do tell them to shop till they drop. I do that. And if I can't find something, like when I go get my Amiibos, that's the only place I shop at to find those exclusives. Toys R Us have exclusive stuff.
So you shop there like twice a year. It's my fault. Gotcha. Okay, let's continue.
You know what? This is true. I'm not lying, but I'm not lying. Mm-hmm. You're right. That is true. I will admit my fault to you, Attic. You have shown me the way.
Hey, Lord Cognito, when's the last time you shopped at Toys R Us?
Me and Lord CLoWnZ would bring it to this new age.
That's right. We'll hold video game competitions there. We'll get some executives over there for the fans.
Listen, man, let me jump in right quick, man. Because this would hurt. This would hurt. I mean, got the information from King, and then CLoWnZ followed up. I want to shout out Old School Style in the chat. Lord Old School Style, man. He actually has a fantastic article right now up on TICGN.com on Toys R Us. And full disclosure, I'm gonna put your business out there because you put it in the article. He was a manager at one of the closing stores, and he agreed with the decision to close it. And shout out to Lord of Old School Style, you know what I'm saying, holding it down. But yeah, he had a good point. He just said, like, kids You know, they got handheld systems like the Switch, you know, tablets like the iPod, you know, smartphones are like the new walkie-talkies, you know, puzzles and board games. No one's buying that. You can do that online. You know, it was basically one of these things where they were just being reactive, you know, and the times were just changing on them in front of them. And then, you know, compound that with Amazon, Lord King, your infamous Amazon, you know what I'm saying? I shout out to them. It's so convenient. I can just press a button and literally order everything I have. The online retail space is so big. And then he also made a good point in reference to Walmart and Target. You know, when it came down to just that pricing and being ultra competitive, Toys R Us could not compete with that. And it just ultimately led to their downfall. And the debt, you know, was just unsurmountable.
Yeah, the problem with that was the fact that once they had all that debt, right, then you would think the answer to that is to get more investors to eat up that debt. And what happened was instead they took the company private. Once they take the company private, that debt is yours and no one else's. You have no one else to help you pay down on that debt. And then it happened at a time when, like you said, all of these other companies are evolving to include everything that Toys R Us does as it is.
Facts.
And it turned into a thing where they didn't have the capital to reinvest in changing their image. And you know, the writing was on the wall. When you see something like FAO Schwartz go down, FAO Schwartz, you know, went down because the fact that it was the most expensive place to shop for toys. That said, that is Nirvana for toys. It was Nirvana for toys. Like if you walk into FAO Schwartz, they get the experience that you're supposed to have when you walking into a toy store. It felt like a dream walking into that store.
Absolutely.
And that's what Toys R Us never was able to capture. Like it just, when you walk into Toys R Us, it looks like a warehouse. It looks like a cavernous sort of warehouse. Right. You don't, you know, the staff that's there is very thinly spread out. That you kind of run around and do your own thing. And it just doesn't feel like this joyous experience that you should be having when you're shopping for toys. And it's a sad thing, man. When you think about that, you think about like when Lionel Kitty City went out of business, when the Wiz went out of business. These are our, like, for 80s kids, these are the brands that we remember. These are the things that we remember. And it's a sad thing that, you know, and in, like I said, in Toys R Us's case, a lot of it really wasn't their fault. Like all these companies have a lot of debt, but once you do things, in opposition to fixing that debt, it was only a matter of time. Like it really was.
I just want to pile on. I mean, shout out to the chat. There's a lot of 80s and 70s kids. And everybody's going in. Yo, shout out to Def Singer right now. Because he's talking real Transformers. There's a lot of real Transformers talk I see going on. And I got to comment on it. You know what I'm saying? I got to get a little emotional. Because my first ever time at Toys R Us was my dad. He took me there. And this is G1 era. And I got Devastator for the first time. It was six in the box, baby. Remember the 6 in the robots that combined into one? Yeah. And it was just such a, you know what I'm saying, joyous thing. You used to get, like, I used to so look forward to it. Like, you were good, you get sent to Toys R Us, you know? And you get your G.I. Joes with the Kung Fu grip.
No, like, I will say one thing. A lot of you guys know, especially people who follow Planet Xbox, that I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot. And they actually held regionals and stuff at Toys R Us. Like they, if you won, you got these little point things. You can go to Toys R Us, and you can cash them in for packs. Like that's the only experience I have with Toys R Us. Well, like, and I went there one time.
I'm happy.
I went up there one time with my cousin Storm and my cousin Sage, and his dad bought them a GameCube, and then that's the only time I've ever been in that store.
I'm actually proud that you actually was able to at least go in one, because, like, again, clowns know.
Well, there's one here in our mall.
Well, get in there, damn it.
Go now before all the dads take the exclusives. Like,
exactly. Clowns knows, like, it was so important because as a child, like, that was the spot. It was like it was like an amusement park for a kid, and you came in there and you had so much joy in your heart because you knew you were gonna get something. It was just, oh man, like I literally had some of my favorite toys ever at Toys R Us. Like I said, the Transformers, the G.I. Joes, soft. No, we used to go back. Man. You know what I mean?
Oh, that, man, everything. And for me, it was Christmas time, because when I was old enough to be, you know, to be privy to the realness and find out about Santa Claus, right? So I was allowed to go on to the toy shopping trip, you know, and that was a big thing for me. I'm like, I'm in the in crowd now. I'm an adult now. I know about this. So it was so much, you know, I'd be walking between my mom and my dad, and they'd be using me to pick the toys because I'm the kid. So I know what they like, what they ask for, whatnot. And it was just, and it's such an amazing experience. I'll always remember that. And it's a sad thing that that sort of stuff just doesn't happen anymore.
Shout out to Brap, Starscream, Megatron, Optimus Prime. People talking about the Transformers.
Because that was the place to go. Like, if you went any place else looking for Transformers, they really didn't have a large selection. They had their own aisle. Like that's where I got the whole. What was that? That thing that we got where it was a racetrack. It was like a track. What was that? Galvatron. What was that?
Oh, I know. You about the Omega Supreme one?
Omega Supreme.
No, the Unicron. Unicron. It was the biggest Transformer.
Because they had like Fortress Maximus or whatever. I forgot. They had a bunch of like city ones.
Yeah, I had Fortress Maximus. Yeah, but I think Unicron was the one that had a track. The
Omega had the track. No, Omega Supreme had the track. It had the tank that went on the track that went around.
Okay, yeah, that too. Yeah, so let's see. It's so many It's like exclusive stuff that you could not find anywhere. Right. And I defy you to find it on eBay right now. You look at the prices, they'll murder you.
Shout out. Hold on, King. Yeah. You gotta put that camera on and show us it then, because I expect it being in your collection.
Oh no, I don't have no more Transformers, bro.
Yeah, a lot of us gone,
my child. I didn't have one of those fantastic moms like you say, Lord Kratos, who that's his Super Pops. Yeah, Super Pops. I didn't even have a daddy. My daddy was not around. But shout out to Lord Kratos, whose moms held down all his collection of video games and stuff like that. My mom, I moved my mom's threw my stuff to the left. So
shout out to Lord Marlonius. Lord Marlonius has mint condition G1, all of it.
What?
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Let's rob him now.
Yes.
Iron Lord podcast does not endorse any kind of robbery whatsoever.
Did you hear his Bronx come out? That was
auction it.
That was his Bronx though. That was his New York City Bronx. He said he got G what? Get him. Get him.
Where he live? Where he at?
Mint condition.
Lord Cognito's over there thinking to himself, that's about to be mine.
He's texting him right now with the address.
He always collected them, and then I guess in the early 2000s when people were buying stuff offline and stuff, the beginnings of the eBay stuff and all that, he got into buying and selling. And he made some good money buying and selling, and in the process was able to complete his G1 collection. So he has everything in boxes. Yeah.
Yo, we could go on and on about Toys R Us, man. It's a sad time. With so many memories. Glad Lord King brought to this table, man. We got to pour a little liquor out, man. This is what hurts the Lords, man. For all the OGs in the chat. 40. You know what I'm saying? This one hit hard. Lord CLoWnZ definitely brought that to my attention. I was like, man, it's gonna be tough to go through this one. But we got to give a shout. We got shut up. I'm good.
But it's 3:17.
Yeah, we gotta finish it. There's no more time. We got the Red Dead topic today. But yeah, man, thanks for everybody coming through, and let's get this poll going in. You know what I'm saying? We got the new poll, obviously, with the recent announcements, obviously, by Microsoft regarding the future of Xbox and its cloud gaming division. How confident are you that Microsoft stays committed to the console market? A, very confident. Cloud services approach is just to supplement their reach. B, not confident. I can see a multi-platform Xbox app in the future. C, I don't care. Crackdown 3 is the power of the cloud, baby. So that is the question Those are the choices. Please rock the vote. Hit the ILP Twitter polls hard when it goes up. Lord CLoWnZ, an absolute pleasure to have you finally in the realm of the Lord. Where can the fine people find you? What do you got kicking up?
Thanks, man. Every Thursday night, usually at 7 or 7:30 p.m., 4 Guys with Quarters on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, or 4GWQ podcast on Twitter. Basically, like everywhere at this point on Google search, we show up.
Nice. No doubt, man. Absolute pleasure. A lot of fun stories. And shout out. We're gonna bring you and your father back for the next episode.
Hell yeah, the OG. Let the OG
I want to
come
hear some
through.
more stories.
We just got to make sure that we got a untapped connection. You know, hey.
You know, I will say this, that my dad had a good hookup at Toys R Us when I was growing up.
Nice.
He would actually bribe the load of the trucks.
Google business
At midnight, when some of the trucks came in, my dad was there, and the employees unloaded them. They would actually bring them up at the cash register, and they'll be like, "Oh, here you go. Here's the whole box of Iceman. That's rare."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What does that sound like from New York? What does that sound like? It sounds like talk that we don't really need to be.
Hey, forget about it. You know what I mean?
I don't know, the way Laura Cognito was talking earlier, there wouldn't be no ringing up. They'd just take it out the back door.
That's that Bronx in them. That's the Bronx.
That's that Bronx tale. That's a Florida tale.
Well, my dad he actually grew up in Brooklyn, but he was from Italy.
See, there you go. Now we do
it. Is.
There you go. He sounds like New York. Your dad sounds.
I told you that already. Told you. Y'all didn't hear me. Y'all didn't hear me.
Shout out to CLoWnZ, man. Absolute pleasure. We got to get you back on. Also, Inferno, huge fan. 4 Guys with Quarters, Zebra. ZP. I can't pronounce it. Is it ZPCI Assassin?
Yeah, Zombie Pest Control Incorporated Assassin.
Shout out to Assassin. I love him. He has more enthusiasm than Lord Addict.
He's got that sense of humor that just comes in out of nowhere.
Yeah,
He's so dry and sarcastic.
Yes, it's like very dry. It's funny, man, just to get some reaction out of him. Absolutely. Love the show. Huge fans. Just want to shout out real quick before we do our outros. This is from the Inner Circle Network. Please go. There's an Ultimate Sea of Thieves giveaway on TICGN.com. It's by our friends at the XXP. Shout out to Fane and the crew. This is your chance, y'all. Y'all can win a physical copy of the game, as well as the Xbox wireless controller, that limited edition joint, the custom one. So please go to TICGN. It's one.
I think they just posted the interview too.
Nice, yeah. And we got shout out to Tick last night. Craig Duncan interview was lit. TICDN's doing it big, y'all. Y'all gotta check that interview out. It's really dope. Craig Duncan, you know what I'm saying? You know who he is. Sea of Thieves is coming. So we got a lot of stuff cooking with that. But please make sure you get on that giveaway. It's one day away. So let's get our outros popping. Lord Addict, my brother from another mother. Co-host with the co-most came through. I'm very happy. I didn't know you'd be able to make it today, so it's good to hear you and hear you fight with us about the cloud and the future Xbox. That was fun. Where can the people find you? What you got cooking up?
Well, you definitely won't find me in a Toys R Us. No, I'm joking. But,
oh man, come on. Damn. Breaking my heart, Lord Addict.
Pissing on the grave.
The youth is so disrespectful.
No, but I appreciate everyone for coming by. When you guys started talking about the God of War thing, I was literally looking through my friend's house, like crazy looking through. I was like, there got to be a headphone or a mic or something in here. Because I have this note now, like the processor can like register me talking a lot better. So like I actually come through clear when I have a mic now, but I couldn't find a mic. Nice. And when I found one, I was like, the first thing I thought, I ain't gonna even lie, I was like, King is done. And I just plugged it.
That got it. What topic is what did.
Yeah, he thought I was coming from. I really wasn't.
No doubt. Lord Solve, what's going on with you? And where can the fine people not find you online?
First off,
he's gonna find his ass online.
Yeah,
Continue.
Hell with that. Yeah. That's over with.
Continue. First off, big shout out to Lord CLoWnZ for coming through, man. Appreciate coming on here with us fools on here. But yeah, definitely you can find me next week playing Way Out with Lord King. You're gonna find me. Right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this.
Profile's gonna be online. Is it gonna be?
Gonna be online next week, baby?
Well, even if he shows offline and anonymous in my chat, jump in.
That's solved.
We're gonna play. Yeah, gonna get into some Sea of Thieves as well. And I'm gonna visit my friend Mr. Lee.
Okay.
And maybe pick up an early copy of the show.
Nice. Good to you come back home.
Sovereign coming back home to the show, baby. So we go.
You got to come back because they got a Yankee in New York. Yankee.
They got my man on the cover.
Just wait till that copy comes out and stop giving that charlatan any money.
Yo, Brazil, let's get that State of Decay 2 on. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you, Tyler. No doubt. Lord King. With the beautiful testifying this morning, had the church all energized. It was really emotional. We really enjoyed what you had.
Holla back, baby. Hey,
where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me don't find me on Instagram, but you can find me on Twitter though. Twitter is where it's at. That's where I'm living at right now. And then you're gonna find me on Portal and some other places. Now that we have in our possession a GoPro Hero 6 4K 60 frames per second. It's crazy. It's gonna be lit. It's nuts. But you're gonna catch us there, and we're gonna be doing stuff. We're gonna be doing some. We got a lot of stuff coming for you guys.
We're gonna be at PAX East and E3 full force. We're gonna give as we get closer to these dates, like Lord King said, it's gonna be a movie, and we're gonna have a lot of information to share in regards to those events. Absolutely. What about where people can find you at in the meantime? Before that,
on Twitter.
Yeah.
See me there, and you can see me on that Xbox. You know what it is. Stop playing. Y'all get on that Xbox and get at me. That PlayStation. My PlayStation name, my PSN name.
Fanboy segment
is Xbox 360 Lover 01. And that's a real name. Shout out to me. It's there.
No doubt, Lord Cognito here. The gaming realness has been spread. Once again, thank you so much, Lord Clowns, for coming through, dealing with all the shenanigans and foolishness of the Lords. Glad you was able to get through it. Like I said, shout out. Make sure you guys hit that the Inner Circle Network, subscribe, like. Those likes are really appreciated. The audio will be going up later. The poll will go up tomorrow. Thank you guys for supporting Flashpoint on the ILP channel.
I didn't say thank you, Clowns. I'm so sorry. Y'all got me caught up in my BS. No, hell no. It's not all right because I had a whole thing. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, what the hell? I didn't even get to my Turbo Graphics love for you. Like, you are my Turbo Graphics brother, my 16-bit brother.
Yeah,
so I gotta apologize for that.
Quick question. Did you ever play Taking It to the Hoop?
Oh, yes, are you crazy?
Taking It to the Hoop was a ripoff of Pat Riley basketball.
That was my favorite Turbo Graphics game.
Yo, I ain't gonna front though. That was they used to have the cinematics every time you dunked.
Yes, when you dunked on it, dude, it's like pam, 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 pam.
Taking it to the hoop. Yo, this is Turbo Graphics love right now. That's what's up. For that one, man. Okay, you got it off now. You good?
Yeah, man. I'm sorry, man. I didn't miss you. I just got caught up in some other crap, and I just thought I'm like, this is my Turbo Graphics 16 brother. Like,
no doubt, man. Yeah, Lord Cognito here, like I said, and like I said, thanks for everyone for saluting. We got Multiverses up tomorrow. Also, thank you guys for supporting Flashpoint. Number 8 is up with Ebontis on the Iron Lords podcast YouTube channel. Thanks for the support there on that passion project, man. And it is Sunday. Thanks for rocking with us. Everybody enjoy their Sunday. Have a good one, and we will catch you next week. Peace.